Oh, anyways, welcome back to another News in General live stream. Of course, we've been working on changing our name this week, so we're now News in General. um, so we had a lot to talk to you guys about in today's stream. So we got Jason out with me and Mark Hyder with me. Oh, let's do this thing, shall we?
All right. So the first topic is, what is the first topic? Protesters set 5 police vehicles ablaze in Canadian protests.
Yeah, protesters in New Brunswick are against, I believe, shale or something like that, gas exploration in New Brunswick in the region, and they were camping on the side of a highway for a number of weeks, and police showed up to enforce a court some court order basically to get rid of them because threats were made to a security guard the night before. Obviously, there was a big clash with police there. Then Molotov cocktails were thrown at police. 5 police vehicles were burned, and it was also later found that the protesters had bombs, explosive devices.
Holy cow! I didn't know they had the explosive devices. I seen they had Molotov cocktails.
And of course, one shot was fired.
One shot was fired. Yep.
Yeah.
Damn. So, my thought on that is that's kind of overboard, you know? I mean, protesting for fracking, because that's what they're protesting for, I believe, was fracking.
Yeah, they
right?
say it has negative effects on the environment.
I mean, I always thought those type of people that do those protests are basically peaceful protesters, you know?
Yeah, they were native protesters as well.
Yeah, oh, that's why they're Canadian. The Canadian protesters are a little bit different than what we're used to here in America. They bring Molotov cocktails with them. They don't bring peace signs. So yeah, but my thoughts on that is that was a little bit too much for that protest. I didn't think they'd be going that far with Molotov cocktails and, as you say, bombs. But I do believe in what they're saying with the fracking. I do believe, you know, that could be dangerous and it could be harmful to the environment. I do support that, but I do not support the throwing of Molotov cocktails and bringing bombs to your peaceful.
And burning police vehicles. Yeah, that's just gonna make everybody listen to you.
How many was it? 5?
Yeah, 5 vehicles, and actually they did with all the protesters. They arrested like 40 of them, and they had to split them up and send them to 3 different communities. So when they went to go, you know, face their charges in the morning in court, all the the courthouses wouldn't be overwhelmed with their supporters.
Oh wow! So there's a lot of people up there, huh? That are against fracking. Now that fracking, what's that fracking for? Do you know?
So you get the gas on the ground.
Oh, okay. There's okay, yeah. To get the gas out of the ground. Okay, let's see what else. I wonder what type of effects though that has on the environment, though. I mean. Good
question. Apparently, it's enough to bring these protesters out there with bombs and all.
40 protesters were arrested. Wow.
And they camped on the side of a highway for weeks, and actually they had to close the highway towards the end of September because they were all spilling out onto the highway.
Jeez, man. Well, I gotta say, if you guys want to read the full article on that, check out newsingeneral.com. The links will be in the description below for all the articles that we mentioned.
And they're all News in General articles.
Yes, indeed.
It looks like a war zone, man.
Yeah.
We're thinking that too, yeah.
that's in Canada, man. That's in Canada. That's not over in the east somewhere.
Yeah, you're supposed to see some moose or something, that burned down
polar bears
vehicles.
Come walking down through there. Wow, pretty crazy stuff. So what do you think about that? Is there a lot of protests going on over in England about fracking, Mark?
Fracking? I don't really know.
I don't know if you can do that.
It's basically where they explode like ammunition or like bombs underground to get stuff like gas and stuff like that. I think that's what fracking is.
We won't have that. Isn't the It's not many crack in the UK.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of stuff they do over there. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know anything about it actually over there.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at fracking. I'm gonna Google search fracking. What is fracking? That way. Oh, Cole Cooper's gonna beat me to it. Damn it.
It's gas. No, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
Gas is in the ground.
Yeah, it's gases in the ground, but how do they get the gas out?
Yeah, so anyways, here, fracking the process. So a well is drilled vertically to the desired depth, and then turns 90 degrees, I don't know if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, I don't know, and continues horizontally. Oh wait, no, sorry, degrees is in the angle. Whoops.
Whoops.
And continues horizontally for several thousand feet. into the shale believed to contain trapped natural gas. A mix of water, sand, and various chemicals is pumped into the well at high pressure in order to create fissures in the shale through which the gas can escape. Natural gas escapes through the fissures and is drawn back up to the well surface, where it is processed, refined, and shipped to market. Wastewater or flowback water or produced water returns to the surface after the fracking process is completed. In Michigan, this water is contained in steel tanks until it can be stored long-term by deep injection in oil and gas waste wells.
I'm just not entirely sure why it's polluting the environment, though. I mean,
it might be the wastewater.
The wastewater?
Well,
yeah, but I thought it's contained in containers and stuff. The wastewater.
Who's to say they do that here, though? And it's probably cheaper to just go dump it elsewhere and not tell anyone about it.
That is true. That's very true, Cole.
But you have to live near. I think you have to live near like a rocky area.
And they are in a rocky area. It's very rocky there.
Yeah. Because it won't happen in London. It has to be somewhere like Scotland.
Like out in the country somewhere. Out in the country out there, yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'd be walking down the streets of London and all of a sudden see that going on. I bet there would be a lot of protests going on there if that happened.
Yeah.
Because I know the protesters over in England, they're pretty. They get pretty crazy now.
Apparently they get crazy here too. Yeah.
I've seen some of the video. All right, so we ready for the next topic?
Can I say your related topic?
Yep.
Anyways, moving on. We are moving on to the next topic. Mass blackout drill for U.S. coming soon. Jason knows more about that than I do. So
let me do this little blue box thing here real quick. America's knockout blow would be its power grid, and that is what this drill will prepare us for. Thousands of utility workers, business executives, National Guard officers, FBI, anti-terrorism experts, and officials from government agencies in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and at least 150 companies and organizations are preparing for an emergency drill in November that will simulate physical attacks and cyber attacks that could take down large sections of the power grid. So wait a minute now. Not just the U.S. that's going to be doing this drill. It's going to be like the whole North America, right?
Yeah.
Mexico, Canada. So, okay, when a hurricane hits a country, when a hurricane hits a county down south somewhere, the most times that the power's out is 3 to 4 days, right? But Brian M. Harrell of the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, known as NERS, said, we really want it to go beyond that time. So they're preparing for something longer than 3 to 4 days. This drill is said to happen on November 13th to the 14th and will be unlike any other drill we have seen. It will include U.S., Canada, Mexico, and this drill will be for an event that lasts longer than 4 days, like I said. So what do you guys think of that? I mean, that's...
So are they actually going to be like turning off the power for something like this, or how they?
No, the whole the officials and everybody that's involved with it will be preparing. Like they'll prepare.
They're just going to train them then.
They'll train them and stuff like that. But we all know about drills, right?
Yeah.
What happens with some drills? Some drills are so-called drills with quotes, right? That it's just a drill, but it's really happening. I mean, look at Boston bombing. Look what happened there. Everybody says that was
a drill.
A drill.
And
look what happened.
Alex Jones.
Yeah,
He said that quite often.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I got that quote from was, it's drills, supposedly. So what do you think about that? What do you think about U.S. drills and having the whole North America involved in this drill? I mean, isn't that kind of
if they're preparing for it, what's coming? What do they expect?
What are they expecting? What do they know that we don't? Okay. I mean, the whole North American continent is going to be preparing for that, so that's kind of crazy.
It's a lot of
but
pretty
do you have natural earthquakes or natural disasters?
Yeah, we have natural disasters, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying what are they preparing for in the future that's bigger than a natural disaster like a hurricane. I think they're preparing something for the global scale, okay? Now, when something happens, probably the whole continent will unite. There will
think about it.
The U.S. won't be Mexico. There won't be Canada. It will all be one continent and unite our resources. That way we can get through the natural disaster. Because it's going to be one big disaster. Maybe a solar flare or an asteroid impact. Who knows?
Well, the funny thing is, scientists are a little concerned about some asteroid coming back and hitting us in 20 years. Anyways, so I've seen that yesterday, and they're concerned about that. So
do you think that's what they're preparing for?
It might miss us. It might miss us. Gosh. It actually might miss us, or it might be a hoax.
It could, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we look up in the sky one day, and here comes a big-ass asteroid coming for our heads.
Yeah, ooh, look at that. Ooh, it's big.
But if you had the training, what's the point of the training? You're gonna be dead anyway from the.
But if it was anything normal like a hurricane, the hurricane only affects a certain area. If a hurricane hits, let's say, Florida, it's not gonna affect me here.
Exactly. I mean, they're preparing for a global disaster, is what I think they're preparing for.
Yeah. So why would
meaning something that will affect the whole planet?
If they were expecting a hurricane, you'd train the coast. Maybe.
The coast. Yeah. Exactly.
But how can you train for cyber attack?
I mean, what the hell's going to happen in Canada? Is there going to be a big hurricane come up to Canada? I know they're getting nor'easterns or like big, snowstorms. But I mean, come on.
We have tornadoes.
You've had those for years, and there was no other training that had to go global or whatever.
Yeah, we've had our natural disasters here too.
Yeah.
Like there were 100 years ago, there was a town buried by a mountain. But
that's crazy. I know, but I'm saying, did the whole world prepare for that? Did the whole continent prepare for that? No.
Look, it wouldn't have affected you 10 miles from it.
I mean, I'm not going to be concerned or scared for my own safety if it happens, in Canada.
Yeah.
So
obviously, other countries, other regions helping those, and that's great, and that should happen.
Yeah.
But preparing everyone for something.
That's that's a little insane. And I also heard that they're going to be doing those broadcasting things on your television or whatever.
No, those warnings.
Emergency alert systems or whatever. They're going to be preparing those too.
Yeah. But if in some cases they might just throw ads up on there,
And how can you actually pay the whole world at exactly the same time?
Well, that's why they're only keeping it to the top officials, top government officials, FBI. They don't want the whole world to know about it, so they're only preparing the elite people, the people that have power or have say, basically, have a word, have a mouth or whatever.
Yeah, but with a drill, you have to follow the public as well.
They don't have to. They're the government. They don't have to do what we say.
Not necessarily. Because think about it. When you were, let's say, back in the days when you were in school, they do a fire drill. Half the time you don't know about it, unless you're really good friends with the teacher.
or exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you're the one that pulls the fire alarm, right?
Or that's not really a drill anymore.
If it's a natural disaster, why should a natural disaster drill be made secret?
So for it to be a drill for the public, they can't know about it. Otherwise, who gives a shit? Waste of time.
And if it was for the public, if it was a drill for the public people would be told to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these government officials are the only ones being told about it and not us?
Yeah, they prepare, no one else does.
Including Canada, Mexico, and the United States. I mean, that's global right there. That's crazy. That's like a lot of freaking people that are preparing for it. I mean, imagine the whole, all the high schools in the United States preparing for a disaster at the same time. Anybody there? Hello?
How good.
Cole Cooper?
As a matter.
What happened? That was crazy. I hope his internet didn't go down. Well, what do you think, Mark? Do you think is there anything to worry about with all this preparedness?
I think there must be some government secrecy going on.
There has to be something going on. Whether it be just a drill or a false flag operation happening, or hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. My conspiracy side is coming out on this one, so I don't want to move on to the next topic until Cole gets back. So. What's going on over in England? What's going on over there, Mark?
Me having crazy Minecraft dreams.
Oh, I think he's back. There he is.
Yeah, a little short break there.
Yeah, I was wondering where'd you go? Somebody call you?
Something like that, yeah.
You had to go get some sunflower seeds or something?
Yeah. Hey, I've been bagging them now.
I see. Yeah,
These
yeah.
last a while, too.
So, do you think there's something fishy with this, or do you think it's just a standard drill?
I don't know if it's standard. It's like I said, your regular natural
it's the first
disaster.
time it ever happened.
Even a lot of man-made disasters aren't going to affect an entire continent. Like North America's big.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
like above the U.S., you got land-wise, you got the second largest country, and the U.S. is the third largest country. Okay, those are big countries just alone. And then North America kind of includes Central America too, actually. So you get Mexico and all those little Central American countries too. So that's a lot of space. And if they're going to work with Central America and those countries, it's a lot of countries.
What can we do as people to find out what's really going on? Like, what can we do as civilians to find out what's really going on? Is it the end of the world? Are they preparing for an asteroid? Are they preparing for the apocalypse? What are they doing? Why are they preparing?
Well, chances are, since I'm sure there's some sort of law somewhere that states this, something like this has to be public information. If you really wanted to look for it, I'm sure you could really find it. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm sure if you went through the right channels, you could.
Yeah. Hey, Cole, I hope we're not going to find some big ships out in China, out in the mountains in China. I hope we don't find any big ships out there, because that'll be bad news for everyone here on Earth.
Yeah, definitely.
Those without €1 million.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he has to go again. He has to go. He has to go get sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you caught that thing that I said there. You know what I was referring to, don't you, Mark?
I didn't know what you said.
That movie from 2012, the big ships out in China, out in the mountains in China.
2012. I think it's it.
That movie, you never watched?
Oh yeah, I know what he's talking about now.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
The clue in, yeah.
The big ships and the €1 million cost €1 million to get a ticket to get on the ship.
Yeah, but that's only if it is a natural disaster, flood.
Oh, a world disaster.
Who's going to be safe in all this if something were to happen on Earth? All those astronauts up in the space station.
Exactly. That's probably why there's a whole crap load of shuttles getting launched up there.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to watch it all unfold and go.
Yeah,
that's why the private sector has taken over the space exploration and stuff.
Yeah, and apparently, NASA was all, shut down and on their break. Apparently, some big asteroid came really close to Earth during that time that no one knew about because.
Ison? No, not Ison. Ison.
I don't know what it was, but apparently no one knew about it till it came right by, and actually till after, when they all got back to work off their break. I'm sure that's about all it was.
So that's gonna suck if they go on break again, and then all of a sudden an asteroid comes and we don't even know.
Oh shit! We can't agree on this. Shut down the government. Wouldn't that be good? Well, we can't agree on it. Shut her down.
Yep, just shut it down. Well, we're done. We're done. If an asteroid hits you, oh well. We ain't worried about it. We're up here in space watching your butt fry down there.
Us to represent you. Now we're not going to listen to you either.
We're going to go hide in our bunkers like Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden, like how they hid out in the caves and stuff.
Yeah, like these politicians are supposed to be so great, and then they go and they go, oh, we can't agree. Shut her down. Done. Finished. Like, how does that work?
I think that Alex Jones is getting into Cole Cooper there.
Yeah.
A little bit of that's a little rubbing off on Cole Cooper.
It's such a it's such a good system when they say, oh, we're gonna represent you, and when we get into the government, we're gonna forget about you, and we're just gonna do whatever, and then oh wait, we need to shut down because we can't agree on a budget. Okay, goodbye. No more government for a little while.
To tell you the truth, it wasn't all that bad when the government was shut down. Like I don't think we really need a government, in my own opinion.
Yeah, you kind of. Well, I think in the U.S. that might be true.
We don't need these rich bastards telling us what to do.
You don't necessarily, rely on government services as much. Kind of like social services and all. You don't really rely as much on those as we do here. So it may not affect you as much. Like here, they pay for everything. Really, free healthcare and free this and free that.
Listen to my theory.
Yeah.
Now, say you're a doctor, right? And say all of a sudden there's no healthcare or nobody's, the government shut down. And there's no hospitals. If you know a nurse or a doctor, you're gonna go to their house to get help, right? Because you know them, they'll help you out. So what if people did that just to help other people out? Okay. What if people took care of people just to help them out?
It could cause a bit of chaos. Like think about what happened with your food stamps. Or I didn't write about it, but these Walmart stores. I remember where in the States they were, just ransacked because all of a sudden it was unlimited, right? So they were filling up. They had to close these stores because it was such a mess.
Yep. But listen, that's where farmers come in. Okay, farmers come in there. They grow crops. They give you food to help you out.
Think about when you go to your grocery store. A few weeks ago we got some oranges. You look at the sticker, product of South Africa.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, how the hell is
Not
that
even North America.
Yeah, that is true.
And
my theory's flawed.
And I was eating some soup today. We've gotten to the point where we don't rely on local food anymore. Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
like sure here we got our local beef in Alberta, but we ship that all over the world anyway. So, I was eating some soup today, and I was looking at the box. Right, that soup that you can get in the cup, right? And you just put the water in it, and it magically turns into soup, right? Yeah. And I was looking at it, and it said product of China. In my mind, I was thinking made in China. Like they made my soup in China.
China's taking over. Okay, with that powdery soup stuff, they're brainwashing us.
Yeah, like everything is made in China. And if it ain't made in China, it's made in some other country near.
Some other country, exactly.
So,
I've seen a couple products that say made in the U.S. now.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, and they're sure marketing-wise, they're sure taking advantage of that. When you see big flag on it, made in USA.
Yeah, and then you see little prints, made in China. Made in China.
Even here they do that too. They get U.S. products. You walk through a store, made in USA. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've actually had a product. I've had a couple products made in England though.
Yeah, same here. You don't see very much made in Canada anymore.
No,
and all these stores come here, and they don't support really the Canadian economy. Let's just go make it all overseas, ship it here, sell it, and bring all the profits back to where we come from, anyways. So
exactly.
You just
what
buy
are you
our stuff.
Say, Mark?
Economy don't, benefit.
He was talking about foods, especially if it's got any hidden cameras inside.
Oh yeah.
Just going back to you.
We ready for the next article?
Yeah, I can introduce this one.
Alrighty.
As I wrote about it, so
Mondelez,
I think that's how I say it, is the owner of brands like Ritz and as well Chips Ahoy. I'm sure you've had those cookies at one point in your life. Would like to do something interesting. They'd like to put cameras in grocery store shelves to monitor or spy on customers' shopping habits and get information about them, like their age, gender. They call it basic information, in which they'd put into a database. But of course, since it's going to be a camera, they're going to have a picture of you. So they're going to be putting that in grocery store shelves come 2015. So you could buy some more of your privacy, of course. So Jason, how would you feel going to the grocery store to get some Ritz crackers, having a camera pointed at you from in the shelf?
Oh hell, we got cameras everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, but see, here's my point. Like, you go to your grocery store, chances are there's cameras in it.
Yeah, no, I would.
And those cameras, they're for security purposes, and it's more of a reason instead of, hey, we want to spy on you. Yeah. There you go.
But
we're
when you have
this
a camera
information
pointing
who knows
at
where.
your face,
and who knows where this information is going. So not only do they know can figure out your age, and your gender, obviously. When they look at you, like, someone's gonna have to look at this, or we're gonna have one hell of an algorithm to figure this one out.
Oh hell yeah, it is. It's gonna have to be one big ass code.
They're probably just gonna have someone look at you, so they're gonna have a picture of you. They're gonna know what you look like, what you're wearing when you went to buy the damn stuff. Your height too, depending. They can probably figure that one out too. Just figuring out the average height of a grocery store shelf, and then just working out to wherever your head meets on the shelf. So they're going to know your height, maybe they can figure out your weight too. They're going to have a lot more information than they're saying.
That's a little bit too much for me.
And they're saying, hey, we're only going to have basic information, but our cameras only, have all this other information that, hey, we're not going to do anything with it. We're definitely not going to use this to our advantage. Like, do they really need this type of market? Like, how long has the Ritz cracker been around? It's obviously
they've been fine without any of these cameras,
And I don't think I've met anyone that doesn't know what Ritz is. Okay, so obviously their past marketing campaigns have been successful, so I don't know why they need cameras now. 100 years later after they started?
Here where it comes into play, I think they may be able to sell that information to other companies.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's what they would do.
I don't think that has to discard people under.
Oh, and the Ritz cracker's been around since 1934.
Wow.
So They haven't, you know, in 1934, did they have someone standing there watching you while you were
Watching
buying the
while you
cracker?
purchase your stuff at the grocery store. What
Yeah,
the
you
hell?
know, I think that they could probably work something out, which they probably already have anyways with these
Yeah.
grocery stores. They all have some sort of card there. And you sit there and fill out all your personal information anyways, so come on, they already got this information. At least the grocery stores do.
What do you think, Mark?
I don't think they should add any data from any children.
What do you say?
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I don't think they should have any data on children.
Oh, have any data on children? Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, he's got
There.
a point too. You know what? And a few years ago, I don't know if they had them in the States now, but they did here, probably did. Do you remember any advertisements where they had, you know, the kid or whatever with the Ritz crackers
Yep,
and all, they were
I've
jumping
seen them.
around? Yeah, so if they're going to use a kid in their commercials,
Commercials.
they're definitely going to want, you know, information on these kids. Sure, they may not have their names, but come on, you got everything else on the person. And, you know, if it's just a camera sitting there recording all the time or whenever someone walks in front of it, it's going to be hard to do anything about that, really, so...
oh man, I can think of
so
so
what do you tell
many
your
things that
kids?
could go wrong
No
with this.
Ritz crackers. Don't even walk down the aisle, okay? Stay away from the cracker aisle, okay?
Hey, that'll be an excuse for the candy aisle. Don't go down the candy aisle. There's cameras down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll probably put cameras everywhere in the grocery store though.
Yeah, you know, if
Probably in the
this,
freezer section too, huh?
yeah. And if this takes off, you have frost on the. It looks like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And you know, if this does take off, other companies are going to want to do it too. You know, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you know, like. I'm sorry,
I'd have to like if I was to, you know, be somebody that was doing that, I'd have to be one sick person.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that it's going to be a person that's looking, watching the video, right? You said it's going to be a person, or is it going to be an algorithm?
Well, I don't know but that's my only two guesses as to how they could do it.
Yeah, because they got to guess the age and the height and all that.
Because it was
right?
just a camera recording it. Well, that's just footage. Footage is useless, not the information, right? So
unless if somebody is watching it.
So and then you're giving that person a lot of power too, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. They've got to give customers warning about it and give an option to opt
Well,
out.
think about this, Mark. So it's going to be in an aisle with all the other crackers, okay, and the chips and the candy and all that. So if you want to get, you know, let's say a different brand of crackers, you're going to have to walk by it anyways. And you're probably going to look at it and go, oh, that's good. You already got your information done. And then they're going to have information on the people that buy other crackers, and then they're going to have to figure out a way to market it in such a way to get you to buy their crackers. So either way, they're going to have information on you.
Just wear a mask when you get your crackers.
Yeah.
Or pick up the item, but make sure you're showing your head instead.
Yeah. And then maybe just put your hand over it while you do it.
Yeah, put your hand and then flick them off.
Yeah,
flick
exactly.
The camera off.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you can't see me.
You got to lean over the item, but not put your face in front of the camera.
Yeah, it depends where it is on the shelf too. But they can
that's a
just
lot
point
of
it
work
up.
to go get your damn groceries now. You gotta be like a freaking gymnastic or somebody to do that.
Yeah. You gotta block your face when you walk by the
climbing over
crackers.
stuff and like reaching over and freaking. No, I wouldn't go do that just to get my groceries, man.
Now, see, if one grocery store decided that they weren't going to put up with that and didn't put the cameras in their stores and just stopped carrying the brand altogether, it might be an incentive for people to go shop elsewhere too. If a store came up with that idea.
That is a good idea.
So in the end, it could actually work against them.
But
I'd sue the crap out of them if I ever found out that like my video or whatever was posted somewhere.
Do you really want some international corporation to have all this information on you?
Yeah, your age, your gender, your height.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, you know, if they sell Ritz crackers outside of the U.S. or, I mean, outside North America. But chances are
I get Ritz crackers.
Yeah, like, obviously U.S., Canada, definitely, probably Mexico.
How would the cameras know if you're leaning down?
What do you mean?
If you're leaning down on the floor to get the item, it wouldn't know your height.
No, not necessarily, but you know, let's have a wide-angle camera, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a lot. I wonder how much money that would cost to have all these cameras and stuff. Would it cost?
Well,
them
yeah,
much
it's not gonna
money?
be cheap, and we're probably gonna have something small. Like, honestly, they're probably not gonna last very long because someone's gonna inadvertently, accidentally hit it and break it. But probably what's gonna
I just
happen.
want to hang on one second. I want to quickly let the viewers know that you can call in and discuss the topics that we're talking about. Give your opinions on it. The number is 213-814-3151. That is 213-814-3151. Make sure to dial 1 before the area code and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying, though, that's probably what's gonna happen to a lot of these cameras, Jason. Don't you think? Is someone accidentally, inadvertently, kind of just hit an accident? Ooh, shit! It don't work anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. I broke your $400,000 camera or whatever.
It could happen. It could just be a huge loss to the company too. But either way, I don't think it's going to work out that well. Do they really need that information?
What the hell are you going to get from your age and your gender and,
what it does is it gives them a demographic, right? With the advertising on Facebook and all, you get an idea of the age of your audience and all that, blah blah blah, kind of like that.
Cool, that kind of brings up something. Back a while back, before we were News in General, Mark Hyder told me about these smart bins in London that also do something similar to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they still have them because it was quite a ways quite a long time ago or whatever, but yeah, it was something similar to this, where they scan you or whatever, and got your age and your height and
I personally, I wouldn't buy Ritz crackers if they did that. You can keep your crackers. I'll go buy the generic, store brand that they have.
Is it just wait? You said Ritz. Now, why just Ritz? Like, are they doing?
Well, I'm just using them as an example, right? Obviously, it's the company. They own Ritz. You probably had Chips Ahoy in the past, right?
Yeah, Chips Ahoy. Yeah.
You probably ate them too, so you're gonna have cameras in those shelves too, right?
So is it just those certain shelves with those certain products, or is it with?
Well, I'm assuming that they're probably going to use it for a certain amount of their products, right?
Yep, and then eventually all the other people catch on and want to do it.
And all these other companies going, well, if it works out for them, if it totally fails and everyone stops buying their products, then we're going to stop this.
Me and Cole Cooper are going to make it fail for this.
They'll probably choose a few stores in different areas to test it out.
Yep. Well, let's go to those stores. Mark, you go to the stores in England. I'll go to the stores here in America, and Cole, you go to the ones in Canada and destroy the cameras.
Yeah, and trust me, they get you for it too. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, hey, we just said it here on live show, so.
Yeah, they get you.
They got proof, huh? There's my name right there.
You know what? Someone would probably just stick an Alex Jones sticker beside.
What about the shop?
Alex Jones sticker, yeah.
What about the shop?
Anarchy.
Yeah.
What about the shop workers who's actually working in the shop?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're all on camera anyways.
Technically, you're just packing the item. You're not actually buying them.
I guess they get demographics on who works at the store and stocks their product too.
Maybe at certain times the camera will shut off and then turn on.
Well, they can probably if someone's watching, they can probably decipher, because if someone's picking up a bunch of boxes of Ritz crackers and putting them on the shelves repeatedly, they're obviously not buying it if they're picking it up from a box and putting it on the shelf.
Exactly. Well, then again, you got to think if it's a person or if it's going to be an algorithm.
If it's an algorithm, then maybe, at least not a person, but still, eventually a person's going to look at the data. And they're going to be tempted to save a picture of you. That
Why is the blue box messing up? I hate the blue box.
Anyways, moving on now.
Cameraman app sucks.
Alright, so protesters gather at Washington Memorial in protest of its closures, basically during the U.S. government shutdown, which we mentioned, which was a wonderful break for all those politicians. A bunch of veterans, obviously weren't all that happy with the fact that they closed a memorial there in Washington because, for a lot of reasons, things are pretty easy to understand, but they were protesting this closure. Honestly, how many people does it take to run a memorial? A World War II memorial? Explain, it doesn't take that many. I don't think it takes anyone to run it, actually.
Probably for the gardening and maintenance and stuff, to keep it up, maybe.
Oh, the flowers can hold their own for a few days.
But most.
Let me take a look at the comments. See if there's any comments real quick, okay?
Yeah, do that. But they do that, and come on, it's just a disgrace to these veterans. You know what the sad part is? The CNN and all the big media. CNN called them a bunch of Tea Party crazies. Oh, that's nice. You know, calling the veterans that
they're kind of discrediting them.
For sure. And, you know, MSNBC said that they were hurling the barricades that blocked off the memorial over the fence into the White House. No, it didn't happen. And they also showed this video where, like, they show this veteran pushing a cop, okay, and they forget to show this one piece before in the original video. The cop pushes the veteran, and the veteran pushes back.
Oh, so they cut that out of there.
Yeah, they cut that part, and you just see a veteran pushing the cop. So it makes him.
So you heard it first from Cole Cooper there.
So it's just not right. They come and they fight for your country, and then the government closes. Yeah, sorry, no, memorial closed. Have a good day. You know, and just think about all these people that could meet these veterans and learn all this stuff from them. Like,
all these cool stories. And
like that's gonna be the best place to learn about it, not that boring textbook that no one wants to read anyways. You know,
exactly.
You go and meet the people that experienced it, lived it.
Oh man, I feel for that.
And you know, to be honest, there's not that many left. Take the take advantage of it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You know,
that'd be awesome if we could get a call in from a veteran. That'd be awesome if a veteran
that'd be great.
Call in.
They should have the utmost respect for these guys.
Exactly.
Like they fight for your country.
And not only that, but it was police officers like they swore an oath to the Constitution to protect the Constitution, and they're sitting there kind of battling their own people. You know, it's like
like they're fighting a new war. Like they want to close all this stuff. And, you know, in New York, they arrested the veterans because they were violating a curfew or something like that. They arrested the veterans, put them in the back of a truck, and hauled them away in handcuffs.
You think they'd be on the veteran side, the police and everything?
A bunch of Vietnam War veterans, okay? Arrested every single one of them because they're out after some sort of curfew, put them in the back of the police truck or whatever, van, whatever, haul them away. New York, because
stupid.
they wanted to, do whatever. And a bunch of old guys too, obviously from the Vietnam War, and they're, the one guy's got a smile on his face while he's being arrested, handcuffed and all,
He's like, hey, take me to jail, I don't care.
Yeah, and,
the government's shut down anyway.
So it's just, come on, they should have the utmost respect for these people.
Hey man, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they fought for our country, they died, they've gotten injured, and then they come back and try to go to their war memorial.
Everyone's taught to respect these, veterans, these old guys, and then the government comes in. We were taught the same things, but we're above all you. No, it doesn't work that way. But they think it does.
Exactly. I mean, what do you think on this, Mark? How do you feel about this? How we're treating our veterans over here in America?
I actually thought that I couldn't believe it, actually.
I mean,
there you go.
Is the veterans over there, are they well taken care of, and people look upon them as heroes and idolize them?
Most of these war memorials are not in state parks.
Oh, they're not in little parks.
See.
No, not all of them. Especially the war memorial outside, not far from 10 Downing. It's in the middle of a road. You can't really close that down.
Like a lot of these memorials, you can't even, most of them wouldn't have people, running them. They're just kind of there. You go there and you do what you need to do.
But they're running volunteering to run it, not actually getting paid for it.
Whoa.
Especially when. Have you seen Joe Pirelli when he went to the war memorial?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah.
Would he do a video of that on his channel?
Yes, and most of that is in state parks. There's a state park closed with a war memorial in it.
Yeah, that's because it's in a state park or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're saying the memorials over there in England are in a state park? They're just on the side of the road, or
it could have a little war memorial, but on the park in the middle road. I'll show you one.
Okay, yeah. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and wait for Cole to get back again. But yeah, my opinion on that is we need to treat our veterans with respect. We need to take better care of them, not just allowing them to go into war memorials and stuff like that, but also with their health care and giving them their pensions and just supporting them as war veterans. I mean, they fought for us. We're sitting here, right now, I mean, we couldn't really do this without our veterans. You know, we couldn't really do what we do every day without our veterans because our country would probably be dismantled and we'd be, you know, like a third world country basically. That's how I feel about it. We need to take better care.
That's a good example. If you see my old vlog, you would have seen this picture.
Okay, let's see. Now, is this your picture that you took?
No, it's on
The photos.
on Google, but I have done a vlog on this wall memorial.
Okay, yeah. Now that's like right off the side of the street there. Wow.
Yeah, you can't really close that down.
Yeah, it's like right there on the street. Like,
yeah.
You'd have to close down the street in order to close that down.
Yeah.
You took a look at that, Cole?
Took a look at what?
That link that's in the chat there that he just posted?
No, not yet, but I think just shutting down the war memorial in general is just absolute disgrace to them.
Yeah. Do you think we need to take better care of our veterans? Like,
well, for sure. Like, you know, like for me, you know, I have respect for, you know, the veterans on both sides of the border here. You know,
exactly,
for the Canadians and the Americans. You know,
yep.
And shutting down their memorial, that's just a disgrace, a kick in the teeth.
Now, do they do that up in Canada? Like, how do they treat their
I never heard of them shutting them down.
But like, is there health care taken care of? Are they getting their pensions?
As far as I know, yeah, they should be
paychecks?
pretty well taken. I'm not quite sure how they're taken care of, but
yeah.
Doing what shutting all that stuff down, like, you know, you got Veterans Day down there. You pretty much do what we do here for Remembrance Day. You know, how would you feel that day? They just shut down all the memorials. Can't go there. Sorry, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people will be very upset with that.
yeah. Don't do any of that stuff you'd normally do. You know, like, sorry, it doesn't work that way. Keep them open no matter what. Because honestly, I don't think it really takes that many people to run these things.
Do you think that the police or whatever up there would side with the veterans, or would they side with the government up there?
That's a good question, actually. You know, I think the police are kind of similar on this side of the border to what you got down there too. So it's hard to say. You know, like obviously in New York they arrest them. And
obviously they arrest them in New York. I mean, geez, pictures and videos.
Yeah. They just handcuff them all and throw them in the So obviously they don't have any respect for the veterans.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know that.
You shouldn't be arresting them.
Oh, hell no. I mean, like I said, they fought for you. I mean, right now, we couldn't really be doing what we do today if it wasn't for our veterans.
You go arrest, a bunch of 70-year-old men?
I couldn't do that.
Good job, yeah. Like, oh, yeah, come on. You served our community so well, you know?
Can I share something on my screen?
Go ahead.
So this is a video I did a long time ago.
Okay. Oh yeah, I seen that. The Tower Hill.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when's the last time they closed that for a government shutdown?
We don't get government shutdown.
See, there you go. See, that's how the government's supposed to work.
And that's why my dad either wants to move to Canada or the UK.
They shouldn't just be, we can't agree. Fuck it, we're done. Close it. It shouldn't work that way.
The Tower Hill Memorial, 1914 and 1918.
And see, and that's something like that's really cool. Now, if someone
respect this sanctuary, which bears the names
there you
of
go, there you go. That says it right there.
Keep it clean and shipshape.
This.
That is good.
Now, see, they should have signs like that up at the ones in the States too. They should also
have them everywhere. What are you talking about?
And they should also send memos to the guys up in government. So, see, don't shut these down. You know.
Exactly. That's a good idea. I don't think we have a lot of those though.
But
you are disgracing the veterans that have fought for your country.
Yeah.
Most of that is run by organisations, not by state parks or run by the government.
State parks, yeah. We need to do that. We need to adopt that thing. Where it's run by organizations, not by the government.
Yeah, well, there should just be something within government
my
that
theory
prevents
with
them
that
from just shutting her down.
We give the government, our government in the United States, too much power to do stuff. We let them do way too much stuff, okay? They're basically hand-feeding us with a spoon, okay? That's basically what they're doing.
That sounds like Alex Jones there.
It does?
It does, yeah.
Well, that's how I feel, honestly.
All the GMO foods and the...
Look, how do we get... Okay, who controls our health care? Who controls our schools?
Well, healthcare is kind of almost a private industry there in the States.
Yeah, but if the government wants to shut down the healthcare
but here,
system,
obviously it's it's all government run pretty much here. You know, the doctors are paid pretty much the
Yeah,
same
but
amount
hey, but
everywhere.
they're not assholes like they are here.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
The Tower Hill Memorial commemorates men. Okay, there you go. That's another one. Oh, okay. There you go. I was just checking that out on Mark Heider's.
You know, if they're gonna shut these things down, they might as well just pave over them too, because that's the amount that they're respecting them. You know.
Yeah.
Like, they should have never been shut down.
But honestly, if you take a look at it and break things down, who has the most control in the United States? Is it the people? Is it the people who outnumber the government like 1 billion to 1? No, it's not the people. It's the government, like Cole said. They have way too much control over stuff, and hopefully the
that's pretty
government
much the
doesn't
same
take
with
this
this,
video
any
down.
any civilized country. Like, if you were to draw out a nice little chart, let's say like a little pyramid or something. Government at the top, and then government workers in between, and then at the very, very bottom, American people, or just
the
people in
are
general
supposed
of the
to decide
country.
on what happens to their
like
country.
every election, they make you think, yeah, you're going to make a difference with that vote. No, you're not.
No, you're not. Exactly. And honestly, sometimes I think that there's somebody above the government. Like, I think there's like a big, rich organization that's world government, basically. They all get together, kind of like the Bilderberg Group, and they all decide on what happens with each country, or
what if countries themselves are like this, provinces or states, none of them have any power really,
It's just these big corporations or whatever.
Yeah, it very well could, because a lot of these big corporations have a lot of power too. You give the government enough money, they'll do whatever they want. You bend over backwards for you to do what you need.
Listen, you give the media enough money, and they'll say whatever you want.
Well, you look at CNN there. The veterans are a bunch of Tea Party crazies, and according to MSNBC, they hurled the barricades over the fences, which never happened, obviously. And, of course, they edit the video to make the veterans look really bad. The big media is a waste of time. They get a really good kick out of it. Oh yeah. Good job reading that teleprompter, buddy.
Now, what's our slogan, Cole?
News in general. News not bound by corporate interests.
There you go, people. There you go.
Look at your newspapers. They're all run by the same company, too. And
let's take a look at our newspaper. Since Cole had to pull out newspapers a while back, I got to pull out a newspaper here, the Sun Journal, I believe.
Now, that's a nice newspaper. I bet you could drive across the United States, go to Seattle, and pick up a newspaper with a different name with the exact same articles in it. I bet you could.
Most definitely, that's probably true.
You can do that here. I can go to every major city in Canada and get a different newspaper with the exact same articles. They just throw in some local stuff.
Some local stuff, exactly.
Just different, local section,
Yep.
Otherwise, our country. This looks like the same thing I picked up in Vancouver, and I'm in Ontario now. All
right.
So
let's
obviously, big media in some cases waste of time. Like, sure, they can get their facts right sometimes, but definitely doing something like this and starting to see that they like bending the facts a lot.
Oh hell yeah. And that's what I definitely don't want to do.
And then on when Alex Jones was on Piers Morgan or whatever, sure, like maybe Piers Morgan, you got Alex Jones going good, and maybe that was done for a reason, to make people say, hey, this is what the alternative media is like. You don't want to listen to that crazy. Like, sure, Alex Jones gets pumped up sometimes, but he brings up some good points.
Well, because he gets so mad that people aren't listening and aren't taking him seriously, and because the government or the media and everything's portraying him as
what I've been doing here, I've been covering news that no one wants to talk about, like the veterans. Sure, CNN mentioned them, but they're only a bunch of Tea Party crazies.
Yeah, and they don't cover the full story.
For sure, they miss the mass blackout drill. You won't find that on CNN. Yeah. Guaranteed.
The fact is, the police pushed the veteran first. But they didn't cover that part.
Yeah, you see that part in the original video. Then they put it on MSNBC, and for all the people that are watching that don't pay attention, they can't expect everyone to do it, but they probably should. Oh my God, such a bad veteran. Like, no, wrong. The veteran just pushed back, unlike everyone else. Instead of sitting there and taking it, oh yes, officer, push me.
Yeah, go ahead.
He decided to push back.
So how you doing over there, Mark? What do you think on this?
Well,
anything to say?
What do you expect from English Piers Morgan?
English Pierce
Yeah, he
Morgan.
has a pretty colorful history, I found.
Yeah, I think he's got his britches on too tight or something.
And Alex Jones is from Wales, just so you know.
Texas, I believe.
Oh, it's Alex Jones, sorry.
Oh, no, Alex Jones is from Texas, I believe. Alec Jones. Hey, Cole. Alex Jones is from Texas, correct?
He is.
Yes. Okay. I guess Mark Hyder thought we said Alec Jones.
Alec Jones. But no, Alex Jones is. He brings up a lot of good points, and he gets so fired up. But I think I'm starting to think, what?
He has
the
something in
alternative
this.
media, like us, is good.
Yep.
You should take Jeremy Clarkson and.
Oh, Jeremy Clarkson.
These big media corporations have gotten too big.
Yeah, just like
that's the problem.
Yep.
Like when you can buy a newspaper across the country, all over in different major cities across the country, and get the exact same paper, you've got a problem.
Yeah, definitely. And how long has that been going on for?
Oh, it's been going on for years.
So obviously it started way back,
sure.
like probably 20, 30 years ago. Maybe
even with
Vietnam.
CNN, obviously that was started in the 80s, the first, 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
And what did that do to news? Yes, they're doing real good at reporting the news. Remember, Tea Party crazies. That's what they call the veterans. They don't seem like crazies to me. They're just, fighting for what they believe in, which I'm pretty sure they're allowed to do.
Just got a message from Chris Call, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he say? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. I thought of the comment for a second there. But yeah, see, you agree with me, Jason, on this one, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris wants to know if he could join.
Right now? This second?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jason?
I'm up for anything. I'd like to hear what he has to say, actually.
I guess we can experiment with 4 people. I was actually going to mention. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and invite him. Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard from him, man.
I was about to say let's move on to the next topic. We'll wait, but that's my opinion on this big media thing.
There's a movie. I forget the movie what it's called, but there's a movie that kind of has something to say with what you're saying. It's basically about like these advertising companies are like sucking the people out of their money and out of their ideas and just making them...
for sure. Like, think of all these stores, too, All of it comes down to marketing. You go to the store and they're playing music. Do you think they play music because it's nice? No, they play music so you buy more stuff.
Exactly.
They design the store in a way so you buy more stuff. They lay out the store in a way that allows you to buy more stuff. Now, apparently you have weird stores there in Maine, Jason, because they don't put the magazines by the pharmacy, but in a lot of stores here they do. They have the big magazine section.
Yeah, they put
pharmacies, like I said, you wait for your prescriptions. Oh, I'm bored. I better go look at the magazines. Oh, my prescription's ready. Shoot, ooh, I'll bring this with me. I'll throw this in. So you see, there you go. And you just wasted $7 of your money there on a magazine.
Exactly.
Or you have to check out waiting, and they have these unbelievably long lineups because they only have like 2 of the 20 tills open.
Yeah. All right, Mark. I think Mark has something to say.
But we're not allowed to play. We're not allowed to play music in our supermarket at all.
Oh, really? Yes.
Hey!
Why is that?
Welcome, Chris.
You need a license to play it.
Oh, one of them. They mentioned that here in Canada, and everyone just got pissed off, so no one really cared.
Wow.
How you guys been? What's going on?
So you've been watching, Chris?
I just jumped in. I
just jumped in. So
normally I'm busy, and I jumped on Facebook.
Where'd you jump in? You got anything to say on? Well, I guess you jump in at the big media part, or did you jump in at the veterans part?
Tell me in. What are you up to? What's the chat right now? What's going on?
We're kind of just about to move into another story here. We were just talking about big media and how it's too big, too big.
Yeah, the government's too big. They have too much control.
Yeah, alternative media is better. Before that, we were talking about the veterans and all that in the States. There, I'm sure you've heard a bit about them and how they're being treated there.
I'll tell you what, instead of me jumping in the middle of a conversation, you guys finish what you're talking about. Pull me on the next one. How about that?
All right. So, Jason, anything else to say on that? Because I think we're actually pretty done.
I think I'm done with that. I mean, like you said, it's the media's become way too big,
Mm-hmm.
And also, like I was saying before, we have the government in control of too many things.
Yeah.
And that's my say on it all right there.
So in the next story, another Canadian story. New Brunswick
Wait,
man
what about Mark? What about Mark now?
Oh yeah.
Can't forget about Mark there, Cooper. All right, go ahead, Mark. What do you got to say?
I've got nothing to add.
See, I made the right decision there.
Yeah, you did. Okay, go ahead, Mark. All right.
A New Brunswick man saves his life by grabbing a bear's tongue. Basically, he's walking through the woods and got attacked by a bear, and when it jumped into his face, he grabbed its tongue, and he fled behind a tree, and eventually, the bear gave up and just walked off. But yeah, he grabbed the bear's tongue. Jason, I know you mentioned a bit in the comments on that, so why don't you start off?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I never would have expected somebody to grab the tongue. I mean, that's like the least of all places is grabbing into a bear's mouth.
Well, think about it. You got all these teeth in your face.
Yeah.
What are you gonna think? Oh, I should stick my hand in that thing's mouth.
No, I wouldn't
So
think that.
this guy, he said, and what he said too is, he said, I don't remember who he said it to, but he said that he did that out of instinct.
Out of instinct, yep. See,
So-
my thing is, if that ever happened to me, because I live up here in Maine, so I always pondered that if it ever happened to me, and I would say go for the eyes or go for the nose. That's what I would have done. But now that I think about it, the tongue is probably very sensitive, so I might try to go for that too.
Well, how would
Maybe cram my arm down his throat or something and start
Well,
choking him.
think about whenever let's say you bite your tongue, it hurts, doesn't it?
Oh heck yeah, that's what I said.
It's sensitive for us, so why wouldn't it be sensitive for them?
And they got sharper teeth too, like freaking holy cow.
Yeah, they're scary
I don't
things.
think I'd ever grab a bear's tongue.
I don't know what I'd do in that situation. You got this thing just right in your face. What are you gonna do? You gotta make these split-second decisions, or it's just gonna eat you. And bite
Hey, am I the one that's echoing here?
I don't know. I'm not echoing. I got my earbuds.
I'm not
in.
echoing. Am I echoing, Jason?
Nope, you're good.
I'm not.
Alright. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't hear the echo though through my.
No, I had the big headphones on. So does Mark, and I know Jason.
You know what it is?
Earbuds
You know what
on.
it is? Fixed. I have the YouTube channel open too.
That would be the problem.
There we go.
So, Chris, you got anything else to say on that one?
I mean, I don't know what to add. If I was getting
it's
attacked by a bear,
one of those,
who knows? Who knows
straightforward
what
stories,
I probably would do whatever I thought I would survive, but I probably wouldn't think to grab his tongue. I read about that though. I did read about that.
Yeah, it's
in the global media. I did read about that.
yeah.
There we go. Look at Mark Hyder's screen. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a large tongue.
Yeah, it is.
I'm probably not grabbing that.
You definitely it take a lot of guts to do it. I think.
Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons. Doesn't have anything on that, huh?
Yeah, it would take a lot of guts to do that.
Yeah.
But-
But think about it. In that
like
situation, you really don't
Paul
have much to lose. Like it did scratch his knees and his stomach and all that there, and it did manage to do that. But you're in that situation where you don't really have much to lose. Either get killed by this thing or take a chance and hope it
You
works.
gotta be desperate. You gotta be
Yeah.
desperate. You gotta survive. Do what you
Take a
gotta do.
chance and hope that it works. But
Yep. That's why I always carry. I always carry a pocket knife.
You never know what you would do.
That is true. You
so,
never know
Mark,
what
you got
do.
anything to add on that?
Where would you grab, Mark?
No, it's the same thing if you saw a shark hitting you, hitting on the nose.
Yeah, on the nose. Yep. I know that's a very sensitive spot for a lot of animals. Is the nose.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I know.
sensitive
I
for
mean,
humans too.
yeah, and humans exactly, and
Yeah.
humans as well.
Someone pinches or pulls on your nose and it ain't good enough. It's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah. But I always thought, I'd go for the eyes, or like I said, the nose. But now that I think about it, I'd try the tongue. If I really was in that position to do it, if I couldn't go for the eyes for some reason or the nose, I'd just jam my damn fist down his throat.
Or
Was this? No.
or
I'm
strip
gonna-
naked.
Oh, and
Sorry.
this
Sorry.
story, I believe, it was on a New Brunswick as well.
I'm sorry if we've already asked
Yes.
this, but was this a grizzly bear or was this what kind of bear was this?
I think
I
it's a
believe
good
it was
bear.
a black bear or something.
Oh, black bear?
Yeah.
Let me take a look real quick. Yep, it's a black bear.
A black bear is hardly a bear. It's like
Yeah,
it's like a
that's
giant fuzzy koala.
Fuzzy koala bear.
But still, it's still a bear,
It's still a bear. Still got claws. Still got teeth. Little fuzzy teddy bear. Managed to claw his stomach and his knees before losing interest. Holy cow! I wonder how bad though. Like, did it rip his guts out and all that, or?
I like how they worded that. Lose interest. It's like the bear was like, I could kill you, but it's awfully
Yeah.
boring.
I'm
Yeah.
done with that.
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'll go find someone else.
I'm gonna go claw something else for a little while. Something
Yeah,
that's less boring.
Oh, look, a squirrel.
Yeah. Oh, squirrel! What's that commercial? Squirrel!
Yeah. So, anyways, I guess that's pretty much it for that one.
Yep, pretty
Next,
sums that up right there.
We got to talk
Grab,
about.
if you're ever in that position, grab a bear's tongue right there.
Now,
That's what you
although dogs can't really be racist, they're kind of facing allegations of being racist, or at least, obviously their handlers being racist in L.A. Basically, apparently, their police dogs over there in L.A. only attack blacks and Latinos, according to recent stats that came out. In the first 6 months of this year, only blacks and Latinos were bitten by police dogs there.
I read about this. You know where I read about this?
Where?
A website called News in General.
Oh, good job,
good
job. Good, right on, man. Right on, buddy. And, but, it says there, it's been a steady increase of this over the past few years. And between 2004 and 2012, the number of African Americans bitten by a police dog in LA rose by 33%, and during the same period, the number of Latinos bitten rose by 30%. And apparently, during that time frame covered, it found that there were more police dog bites in Black and Latino areas of Century, City of Industry, Crompton, Lakewood, and South LA, and Lenox than any of the other 21 LASD districts. So, you got to look at that there. But a recent report did suggest that the police force there review its canine deployment policies and keep track of the enforcement activities of its handlers. So what do you think of that one, Jason, there, the possibility of, racist police dogs there over in LA?
Wait. I don't think it's the dog that is
No,
racist.
it's not the dogs. That's why I say racist, even in the article.
Yeah, the handler
it comes down to the handlers. The dog
trainers
don't know any difference between,
or the
black,
trainers.
white,
You
or
never know.
anything.
Hey, the trainers, the people that train these attack dogs or whatever, may be training them to attack certain ethnicities, like
or they're just letting them go on certain people. They're just bringing them
or
out.
just letting them. Yeah, that's true.
Well,
They see if the handler themselves is racist, if they see someone that we shouldn't get this dog out, stay in the car, So
what's the and I know this is cut me off if I'm getting a little too crazy, but what's the current incarceration rate in LA, like per race?
That's a good question.
Let's look it up.
I don't know. I don't have any stats on that right now, but if Jason, you want to look that up, you can go for that. But in the first 6 months of this year, like I said,
before I go any deeper, I don't want to sound racist at all, because I'm not. But
no.
Isn't the statistic I know in America anyway is that we incarcerate African Americans at a much higher rate than anybody else.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And I'm not sure if that's because
Yeah, some people say, it's because they commit more crimes, but
exactly. I don't know
about that.
Because judges are being harder, or
All right.
what it is.
Yeah.
From 1980 to 2008, the number of people incarcerated in America quadrupled from roughly 500,000 to 2.3 million. Today, the U.S. is 5% of the world population and has 25% of the world are prisoners.
Now, I do know that a large population of those are nonviolent offenders.
African Americans are now constituted nearly 1 million of the total 2.3 million incarcerated population. So African Americans are the most that are incarcerated.
Mm-hmm. I think all this really does come back to the handlers of these dogs.
African Americans are incarcerated at nearly 6 times the rate of whites.
Is the Latin population represented in that stat anywhere?
Let me take a look. Let me look a little bit more. Black, nationwide, African Americans, drug sentence. No, I don't see. No, I don't.
Well, that's enough information for this, I think. But
yeah, so you have to wonder why. Why are we incarcerating so many more people of one race than the other? Is there a reason, or is it because?
Yeah, someone along the line could be racist, or it could just be they're committing more crimes. But
or a
it's hard to
coincidence,
tell, right?
It's like,
what's that rate in Canada? I wonder, Mr. Cole Cooper.
Yeah,
that's
Mr.
a good
Cooper.
question. Yeah.
See what I do? I come in and ask all these questions.
Hey, that's fine.
You can kick me out anytime. You know that.
Yeah, let's kick him out right now, would you?
Okay, I'll do
Yeah,
something.
everyone click that block button, eh?
Cole used to be my herd Canadian. Now not so much.
Hey, are you still the Windows fanboy?
Do I still use Windows Phone? What?
No, are you are you still the Windows fanboy?
Am I running Am I running 8.1? Maybe.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
How do what?
How do you like
love
it?
it. Yeah. Having the real Windows 8 search the way it was supposed to be done in the first place back is really cool because they ripped that out for the Windows 8 actual launch.
Oh, so they should have kept that in.
So well, they kind of did, but they changed quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
When they brought that back in Windows 8.1, which is really really nice because it's really is a what do you want to say? It's like it's an all-encompassing search now. It searches your everything at once.
Everything, or you can search images on the web or videos on the web. You can search specific places too. I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely took some getting used to, but.
All right, go ahead, Cole.
But those stats, give me a little while. I'll look those up. The government of Canada has this big, long, lengthy page for Statistics Canada. So
the government of Canada doesn't want to tell you what's actually happening.
Yeah, tons of charts and graphs and this and that. So let me another day.
Well, Jason, you want to hear something interesting? While Cole's looking that up, you know what I had to do to install Windows 8.1? I actually had to completely decrypt my hard drive. Why? I don't know. I use TrueCrypt as my, on my hard drive mainly because I have a laptop, so you never know if someone's gonna take it or I'll lose it or whatever. But I was doing some research on it, and I actually had to completely decrypt my hard drive to install 8.1. If I had used BitLocker instead of TrueCrypt, it would have been fine. But
because they're a Microsoft product, that's
right. How fun was that?
How long did it take?
No, how fun was it?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I was working on some programming last night. I started it at probably 8. It took a few hours. It was done by 11.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, I'm going to interject here and going to say something. So, enough of tech.
Alrighty.
We're just killing time, Cole. Come on, how are the stats coming?
Yeah, I guess
we're waiting for the stats.
It takes a lot of reading to understand those ones.
Okay, yeah.
But so, what do you think of what I'm saying here so far? Just the way it is, like do you think somewhere in the police force their handlers are racist, or is it just they're committing more crimes?
There has been proven that police chiefs have been racist, like people that are like prison,
one thing I should mention here, I didn't mention this in the article, and I mentioned this to you, Jason, but in the 80s, it was alleged that some police officers there over in LA called black children dog biscuits.
I remember.
So you have to wonder. Come
there
on,
you go.
Is continuing to today?
It is. There's proof right there.
You gotta wonder, right there. That says a lot.
That says a lot. Dog biscuits. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Tell me that isn't racist.
That definitely is racist. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's beyond racist.
Exactly. So knowing that, it can definitely lead you to a conclusion that maybe some of their officers are still racist.
Dog handlers. Now, is it police and other police officers, or is it the trainers, or is it the handlers, or is it the police chief?
Well, I don't know. Could you train it? I guess you could train a dog.
Yeah, you could. I mean, absolutely. Yeah, you could.
The dog doesn't know any better, so it's not the dog's fault.
Dogs are pretty smart. Trust me.
I don't blame the dogs at all. Dogs,
no, absolutely.
They're just doing what they're
trained to do.
Owners or handlers, whatever.
And what they may be trained to do is attack certain people.
Mm-hmm. And if that is the case, what do you say?
What's that?
Jason, have you ever had a corgi?
A corgi? No, I haven't had a corgi.
I asked because you say dogs are smart, so I'm just curious if you ever had a corgi. That's all.
No, I've had a Siberian Husky.
Those are smart. And
I've had a wolf.
Is the queen? Is the queen smart?
What's that?
Is the queen smart?
The queen has corgis. I know that.
The queen has corgis. Yeah.
She loves corgis. Oh, they're adorable too. They're amazingly adorable dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any dogs, Cole?
Well, here's the thing. I decided that when I have an apartment that lets me have a dog, I'm going to have a corgi and I'm going to have a black lab, okay? The black lab is to be smart. The corgi is so I can look at him and I can say, oh, derpy dog, and then he'll play dead. That's the goal of the corgi.
But back on track. I think what's going on in LA could just be a problem within their policies. And if you don't really keep an eye on your handlers, come on, anything can happen.
No, who's to say that's just in LA? Who's to say that's just in LA?
It could very well be elsewhere because racism obviously it's not just centered there, but obviously this recent report brought out the fact that their dogs are only attacking certain people of certain ethnicities. So that has to really make you wonder, like, what's going on here? Like,
Most
sure,
definitely, yeah.
technically they could be committing more crimes, or the police could just be harsher on them. They could be racist. They could be this, that. What's going on?
So do they have
Here's a
do they have
And
attack dogs up
there's
there?
that little bit of history from the 80s,
Yeah.
calling the
Question
children
for you.
their dog biscuits.
Go
So come on, that's
Cole, do you and I'm going to completely differentiate this question. I'm not asking if you are a racist, because that's not.
yeah.
These are separate questions. I really think these are separate questions. I do. I've asked my friend the same. He reacts differently to each question.
Yeah.
But do you find yourself acting differently when you're around somebody who is a different race?
Yeah, you've asked me this before, and no, not really.
No.
No, I have no problems with the different races.
That's fine. I was just there's a conversation.
Because when you think
Very
about it,
interesting
they're
question.
still people. You know, they're not
Yeah, no, I
aliens. They're not this.
Yeah.
That. They're people.
I have,
Stand
I think I mentioned this last time. I have a
in
friend.
front of one another.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe
Awesome.
the skin colors are, but come on, we're both people.
Exactly.
No, I agree with you. I do.
Yeah.
But I think I told you last time is I have a friend who freaks out every time we go to Boston for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
And,
About
some
it.
of it can come down to certain things in their life, blah blah blah, even
Yep.
stuff they see, or even the way they were brought up in some cases. All that kind of comes into
I
play.
agree.
And
I think the world would be better if there was no racists at all. Like they were all gone,
yeah,
or they just thought differently. They didn't think like that,
well, if we can just think differently, if we could,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
at face value say, you know what, buddy, me and you are the same. Let's get
You're a
along.
human. You have a pumping heart. You have a working
Yeah.
brain. You have organs. You have a consciousness. You have a personality. You're a human being. Why do I have to treat you differently because of the color of your
So
skin?
here in LA,
You are a person, not a dog biscuit.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
In LA, there, maybe their policies are just kind of too lax. If no one cares,
Yeah.
anything can happen. You just
Well,
see.
it's LA. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Look at LA.
And if higher up in the chain, if no one up there is caring, they
Everybody
just look the
there
other
thinks
way.
because they got the money that they
Yeah.
can say and do whatever they want.
Obviously, the report suggested that they do, review all these policies, and hopefully they do and change, the way things are going. But they have that history of racism with the dogs.
Yep.
In the 80s, okay, so a lot of that could just be carrying on into today.
Now I'm curious. Do they have attack dogs or dog sniffers or whatever you want to call them up there in Canada or in United Kingdom?
Well, they do here for sure.
Yeah.
You got the dogs at the airport. You got the police dogs. Actually, here in Edmonton, one of the police dogs, it was chasing some guy down, and the guy stabbed the dog. And they're bringing out new legislation to charge these people better now.
Wait, he attacked the dog?
He killed the dog.
Is that an extra charge?
And right now it's just animal cruelty, but they want to make changes. They actually are already pushing new legislation to make it a little harsher, because you're still kind of it's still a cop,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like in America that might actually be assaulting an officer, at the very least, some sort of damaging to equipment. You know what I mean?
Still, a cop. So they bring out new legislation for that. So.
There was an officer here, in New Hampshire actually, not too long ago, who wrecked his car. He was driving way too fast, and they ruled that he was driving way too quickly. He had a medical condition. Something happened. He wrecked his cruiser, drove almost headfirst into a semi truck.
Oh,
and
wow.
he had a dog he has a canine unit. He had a dog with him, and he was part of the concern was the damage that he had done to. And this was a little concerning to me, but they said that the damage he'd done to police property, and that included the cruiser, his equipment, and then it also listed his dog as police property.
Test 1, 2.
Good God.
Yeah, living
And I thought that
Much
was
better.
interesting.
Much better.
It lives, it breathes, it breathes, it drinks, and everything.
Yeah, they were actually saying that they were saying that the fact that the dog was contained in, and I'm sorry for going off topic, but the fact that the dog was contained in the back of the cruiser, in the cage system that they have back there, was the only reason they were able to pull the cop from the cruiser, because if he had been flipping out, they wouldn't have been able to get near him. Because those dogs will protect the officers like crazy.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure, yeah.
Well, they're trained for that.
They really are. And any officer who's worked with a canine will tell you that it's their partner. It's not just their equipment; it's their partner.
Yep. There you go. I actually have a cousin who's a Atlantic City police officer. So he's in the police, doing all that, training dogs and having his partner dog or whatever you want to call it.
So yeah, if you want to get let's probably move on now. For anyone who is watching this, you want to.
Oh wait,
actually,
wait 1 second. I want to ask Mark if there's any if the people over there, the police or whatever over there have attack dogs and stuff like that.
They probably do.
Do they? Do they, Mark?
Yeah, but the handlers are also police officers.
Well, they are here too.
Oh yeah, they are here too.
Yeah. Right,
Mark's in
the regular.
Where are you at, Britain?
He's in UK, yeah.
England.
London.
Gotcha.
All right, so next topic. Cool.
Anyways, I do want to tell our viewers, if you actually want to read the story, you can head over to our website. We'll have all the links down below in the description, so you won't have to get off topic while you're reading it, unless you have Facebook or something open.
There you go.
So, moving on.
Unless you got Facebook open.
Yeah, or you have a Chris Call over there.
Or an audiobook.
I don't get you off topic. I keep you on topic.
Anyways, moving on to the next topic.
The point is what he had to say was interesting.
The U.S. government shutdown.
Oh yes, the U.S. government shutdown. Now, basically, my rant that's gonna be on this is, okay. So they say that they're gonna postpone the shutdown or postpone the debt ceiling or whatever until January of next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, what happens when that time comes?
The
Are we
exact
gonna go
same
back into a
thing,
shutdown
yeah.
again? Are we just gonna go back into a shutdown again?
I
What the hell is that about?
Another vacation for them.
Yeah, they postponed. They had an argument, right? I mean, obviously they had an argument. The Republicans and Democrats had two completely opposite subjects. They had a big argument going back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So what they agreed to do was they agreed to say, okay, having this argument right now is incredibly inconvenient for everybody. Let's go ahead and postpone this until later. We'll fight about it in January.
But what good is it? It's going to probably be worse. We're probably going to be more debt than we are now.
He's got more time to think about what you're going to say, and he's going to be just pissed off.
Actually, if I can link, well, I'll do it later, I guess,
for you guys. $17 trillion in debt, or it was like $16 trillion or something?
Yeah, but keep in mind though, Jason, that all of the debt that we're accruing right now is in the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's going to have to explain to me how they plan to deal with the $17 trillion debt. I can't even comprehend $17 trillion. So
yeah, the easiest way to explain the debt ceiling, right, is that the president comes along and proposes a budget, and then you've got Congress who looks at that budget and says, no, well, yeah, a little bit, this, that, the other thing. Here's the actual budget. Congress actually sets the actual budget. But then they also say how much money the government has to meet that budget, and most of the time it's not enough. That's why the debt ceiling has to rise, because they say, okay, we've got $1 million and stuff in this year's budget. Here's $350,000. Figure it out.
So what happens when we can't rise the debt ceiling anymore? Like it's too high.
That's the biggest problem. Is Congress comes along and says, okay, this is what you have to do. It's going to cost you $1 million. Here's $750,000.
Yeah.
Make it happen. And by law, they have to meet those requirements. They have to do what the budget says. But also by law, they're constrained by the amount that they have the debt ceiling. So if Congress deliberately says you have to spend $1 million, and here's $750,000 to do it, there's obviously going to be a problem there, right?
So they're kind of fighting their own battle, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. But think about it this way: if they fix the problem, how good does Congress look? When Congress says, okay, Mr. President, you have to spend $1 million.
Yep.
You have $750,000 to do it. The President says, I can't do that. Congress says, okay, we'll fix the problem. Here's the rest of the money. Now Congress looks good because they said, okay, you're spending too much money. We told you to spend that much money, but you're spending too much money. We're going to say, okay, we're going to give you the money. We're going to solve the problem by giving you more money. So they look good because they said they stopped the president from spending too much money. But then they also fixed the problem by allowing him to spend more money.
That's the problem, is we're printing too much money. We're dishing out too much money. That's the problem.
Well, if they want to print some money and give it to me, that'd be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, deliver it right to your house, yeah.
I'd dish that back into news in general.
Yeah.
We'll build a compound bigger than the White House and put it right next door to the White House. That way, every time the president goes out and looks out his window, he sees news in general, keeping an eye on the government.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have to do what I told everybody I was gonna do. Oh,
exactly.
Just imagine that.
Oh man.
Keep in mind, Congress has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's too many people in there. There's too many people.
There's too many people in there
who
are responsible. Yeah. Here's the biggest thing that I have, right? Congress has what is it? Last week I checked, it was like an 11% approval rating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Congress is an 11% approval rating. But here's the problem, right? If you, Jason, you can do this. Cole, you guys can't, but Jason can. Ask anybody about the congressional elections. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, at least 8 people out of the 10 you ask will have no idea what you're talking about.
Here, I'd say almost 99% of people wouldn't have an
Exactly.
idea what you're talking about.
I think I might be the only person in New Hampshire last year who actually voted the congressional election.
Now that's voting for the members of Congress, right?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, they have an 11% approval rating. Why isn't anybody voting in these elections?
Because it's all about the president. They think they gotta vote for the president, not the members of Congress.
The president gets all the attention, you know.
Yeah, he gets all the attention. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a figurehead. But here's the thing, right? The president's allowed 2 terms, 2 4-year terms.
Yep.
Okay. And then he's done. He can't get any more. And he has power, but only as much as Congress gives him. Congress is the real power.
Congress has real power. There you go.
Congressional leaders, they have unlimited amount of terms. As long as they keep getting voted in, they're good.
So they're basically so the Congress has all the power for a while, because if you're saying that they have, like, you know, they could be in longer than what the president can be in office for. So they're the ones that are making all the decisions then.
Maybe they need a little bit of balance.
They don't make all the decisions, but they make a lot of decisions.
Most of them, yeah.
The biggest problem is that they have no term limit. So if they can make the president look bad, if everybody blames the president, people will like the new president and think, oh, the problem solved. Yeah, but Congress is still there. It's the same Congress. We're going to have the same problems.
It's still the same government, just, you know, different guy up front.
Different guy up there,
exactly. It's the same
different
government.
face.
Yeah.
We're changing one person in the entire government, and we're expecting that to fix the problem.
You got to balance it then, is all you know. Logically, that's what you should do, you know.
No, that's a good explanation of that, man.
It's important to remember that the president is not a king.
No.
And that replacing the president isn't going to fundamentally change the government.
It's not going to be some miraculous big change in one day when he gets elected.
Maybe get rid of most of the government and replace them with the other people.
If you change the president and you change a bunch of Congress, you change a lot of the senators, you change a lot of the
then you'll start noticing changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of times right now, the president says, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Goes to Congress and tries to change that. Congress votes him down. I mean, look at Obama's first term. He tried to do a lot of stuff.
But
Congress
never
shut him down the whole time.
Yeah, it never got approved.
Yeah,
I mean,
go anywhere.
Regardless of what you think about Obama, I would still argue to you that he didn't even get a fair shot his first term, because the Republicans in the House, in the Senate, were just shutting him down every single time.
I agree. I agree with you too. I'm not against Obama at all.
But I know people who are.
Me too. I do too.
Didn't get a fair shot his first term.
I do too.
That's a good point, actually. You know, maybe get rid of Congress.
It's not always off topic. Most of them. Sometimes I'm relevant.
See, now you're relevant this time. Yeah, you got your relevance this time.
You got it. Yep, you got it. Well, hey, you got to mention something about politics, and you'll stay on topic, I guess.
So what else you got for the U.S. government shutdown? Because that ain't all of it.
No. Let's see. Well, I do got a kind of like a comedy type thing of the 10 things to do during a government shutdown. Let me go ahead and mention that. Alrighty. Number 1, spend time with your family if you're not out trying to find some extra money because you haven't been paid in almost 2 weeks. Number 2, read a book about how to survive a shutdown. Number 3, clean out your business. That way you don't have to do it later when the shutdown forces you to close. Number 4,
we could have a fire sale, you know, everything 90% off.
Exactly.
Remember, guys, I work for a small business, so I can totally understand that.
Totally understand. Okay, good. Number 4 is watch the Democrats and Republicans fight like children, only if you didn't sell your television for extra cash. Number 5, write a book about the shutdown and how it is affecting you and your family, only if you can afford the paper and pencils.
Capitalism will work right there.
Number 6, set up a civilian-run organization to take over when the government fails us. I like that one. Number 7, watch Miley Cyrus on MTV because she is more important than what is happening with our country.
Yeah, you probably bash your head through a wall if you had to watch that over and over.
It's true, though. Can I pause you, Jason?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's true, though. Think about that, Cole, right? Think about that. How many people... All right. Well, and again, Cole can't do this.
I know what you're saying. I've seen it everywhere.
Walk up to somebody, even Jason, walk up to somebody next door to you or something like that. Just say, hey, who are the senators in Maine?
You won't know.
Right? You know, I could probably do that here with, you know...
But then say, what is twerking? And everybody will say, oh, that's what Miley Cyrus did on the air.
I can probably do a different version of that here, Chris. You know, just ask some questions about our government here, right? You know,
well,
I don't understand. I don't know how your government works, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. You know, of course we got Prime Minister at the top.
Do you have president? I think you have. It's the same thing, right? You have an upper and a lower house, and then you have an executive.
Yeah. We got a senate. We got a senate and all that too.
Yeah, then you get the prime minister.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Prime minister.
With our prime minister, he can stay there as long as he wants, as long as he gets voted.
Who has all the power? Who has the say?
That would be interesting.
He can stay in for 40 years as long as he gets voted in.
But see, here's a question for you, Jason, too. If our president wasn't limited to 2 terms, do you think he'd be more gutsy in trying to call out Congress?
I think he would. If he had a longer time in office, is that what you're saying?
And think about this, right? If he's running for a 2nd term, that means the last 6 or 8 months in his 1st term, he's really just focused on getting elected to a 2nd term.
Yeah.
On the second term, he's more focused on doing what he said he was doing.
See what I'm reading here. In Canada, the longest someone's been a prime minister is 21 years.
21 years.
Crap, dude.
And then under that, it's 18 years.
Wow. That's some time.
insane.
Now, how does it work in yours? I mean, how does it work in Canada? What is a prime minister? Because in America, right? In America, Obama can propose laws and he can suggest laws, but in the end, Congress is the one that has to approve it. He can veto something Congress says, but then Congress just needs to get more people to say yes.
Yeah. All the decisions in government here are made by all the stuff under the prime minister. All the,
what do you mean?
Like when you have a bill that goes through different parts of government, you have the Senate, different houses and all that, and it has to go through other places, and then it has to get approval by our Governor General who represents the Queen.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
well, really, he's kind of just personally. I think he's just a waste of money, but.
And like I said, guys, feel free to cut me off. I'm talking, but like I said,
I think that's just one part of our government that you could probably get rid of.
Yeah.
I've been out of the loop for a while, like I said. So
do you really need a guy to say, after it's been approved through like 3 different parts of the federal government, you think that you really need one guy to say, "Yep, it's a law now." Come on.
All right, so let's move on to the next couple of things on here. Now let's see if I can find it. Number 8 is send your pacifiers and baby bottles to the Democrats and Republicans because they need them, or just sell them for extra cash. Yeah, and diapers. Or Depends. No, they need Depends actually, because.
Yeah.
Right. Number 9, spend your tax money because frankly, if the government is shut down, they don't need the money. Number 10, finally throw one big celebration for Obama, who finally sat down and started negotiating. Because it took him a while to start negotiating.
But you have to understand where both sides are coming from, right? I mean, you got Obama, who is, and I don't want to sound.
He didn't want to negotiate on Obamacare,
Well,
it took him a while to do that.
You got Obama, right? And Obama's main point is Obamacare, obviously, the Affordable Care Act. But here's the thing: the Congress passed the Affordable Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
All right, both houses in Congress passed the Affordable Care Act. On top of that, Obama got elected in the 2nd term when the Affordable Care Act was basically his whole platform, which means that the people tend to think it seems that the people would also approve of the Affordable Care Act, right?
Yeah.
So from his perspective, and I'm going to give both sides, but from his perspective, the reason he's not negotiating is because, in his opinion, everybody in America has already said this is what they want, and Congress is supposed to be representing America. So theoretically, if Congress is representing America, they'd be saying this is what the people want. If the people already said they wanted the Affordable Care Act, why should Congress be denying that?
Why shouldn't they be behind that?
And that's Obama's side of things. On the other side, you got Boehner's side of things, and Boehner's saying that the people don't want it because this is bad for America.
Yeah.
And it's without trying. I mean, I'm going to sound biased here, but it's tough to say that this is bad for America when your job is to represent what people want, not what they need. That's not your job in Congress isn't to say, America wants this, but I'm smarter than America.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know what they actually need, and it's not this.
Yeah,
once again, like I said earlier in the stream, government thinks they're above the people. They're
exactly, and that's I'm fortunate enough in New Hampshire. I'm fortunate enough to have. I mean, Kelly Ayotte is a Republican, but she's frequently back in the state. She used to be the Attorney General. Mm-hmm. The Chief Prosecutor. She's quite good. Jean Shaheen is our other senator, and she's also quite good. She spends a lot of time back in the state, and so I think we're fortunate enough in my state to have senators who spend a lot of time back in the state trying to understand what's going on. But it seems more and more like a lot of senators aren't doing that.
A lot of politicians really don't care what the people want. They just,
that's their job.
Going back to what Cole was saying.
Unfortunately, it is their job, but they just don't care.
Hey, listen. Going back to what Cole was saying about the government being having too much power. Who gives the government the power? Who allows the government to do what they're doing? Okay.
Us, the people.
Who can stop the government from doing what they're doing?
The people. That's the thing.
Exactly. Why aren't we doing it?
But here's the problem. Listen. This is the problem. People who don't the first problem is people who don't understand how Congress works and therefore aren't interested in congressional elections. They can complain all they want about the things that are happening in the government, but they don't care to step up and fix it by voting in new people. And then the other problem is you've got the people who are in the government, mostly Congress, who are saying, okay, 70. And here's another example. Was I'm going to give an example of a politician I really admire, who's John Lynch, who used to be actually the governor.
John Lynch. I've heard of him.
You've heard of him. He was the governor of New Hampshire up until a couple years ago.
Yes.
He personally was adamantly against gay marriage. He was entirely opposed to it on a personal level, right?
Yeah.
But during the votes, New Hampshire had like a 70% approval for gay marriage. And what he said was, I personally am opposed to gay marriage, but at the same time, I'm supposed to represent my state.
What the people want.
For it. Exactly. So he signed the law, and he said, this is what my state wants, and regardless of how I feel about it, this is what they want. That's my job.
He did his job.
Exactly. He's one of the few politicians I've ever seen do his job.
Mm-hmm.
John Lynch for president.
The people have the power, but
John Lynch
wants to use it, no one wants to take advantage of it. People in numbers have power. When one person wants to do something, no one cares.
But that's
I want to quickly get Mark's opinions on the shutdown here.
We have to take my opinion on the shutdown is we have to take back government from people who think they know what's best for America. And put it back the way it's supposed to be, which is people who are representing the American people.
Maybe what they need to do is they need to get the average Joe in the government. Like someone with a little more knowledge how this stuff works and understands what the people want and blah blah blah. Instead of having all these instead of paying them however hundreds of thousands of dollars they pay them and
So Mark, what do you think on the government shutdown in the United States?
I don't know. It's very hard for us because it's not really affecting us.
Yeah, it's not affecting you, but like, what if that happened in England? Like, what if your government and everything shut down? How would you deal with it? Like, how would it affect your family, and how would it affect you if it happened to your country?
I'm really not sure because it's run by different systems.
It probably wouldn't happen there, to be quite honest.
What's your Mark? Is that your name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. You get the House of Commons, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You get Parliament and all that. So, it's kind of the same system. We model our system on your system. Yep. In a way, right?
Actually, Mark, if you understand their system, then you should understand Canada's system very well. Then
they're very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Any Western nation has a very, very similar government. They really do. But here's the thing. And I don't want to sound like an American bigot here, but especially right now, and maybe only right now because a lot of this is sort of on the chopping block to change. But the internet is the biggest thing. And I'm sorry, Cole, I know you don't want to talk about the technology, blah blah blah. The internet right now is mainly run by the American government. I mean, American government has a way bigger sway than any other government right now when it comes to the internet. A lot of that's changing right now. So but right now the American government has a lot of sway in the internet. If our government shuts down, it can really. On top of that, the U.S. dollar is the main traded currency. Blah 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 blah. If our government shuts down, if our government has issues, a lot of that can really impact the global economy.
Well, for sure, yeah.
I mean, Cole's up in Canada, and if our government shuts down, Cole's just sad because there's less. But
less what?
Less moose on.
Oh yes.
No, but it's something I don't know. I've always felt that the American government's too big on a global scale, and that less impact we had in the global economy, the better. But
so you agree with me on saying we've let the government grow too big and have too much control?
I think our government's got too much control over the global economy, and and again, touching back on internet. Sorry, Cole.
No, that's okay. It's on topic.
They were talking about. I mean, you guys have all heard of ICANN, IEEE.
Yep, ICANN. Yep.
We see all these all these internet agencies. They were all based in America. And actually, in Brazil this week, I don't know if you guys listened to Security Now, the podcast with Steve Gibson and Leo Laporte. But they were
I've listened to it a couple times. Yeah.
They were talking about how this week, because of all the NSA stuff, which I'm sure you guys have talked about previous weeks.
Oh yeah.
They were considering moving those organizations that control the internet out of America because America has such sway over them, and that they don't think it's right for America to have such sway over them given the current situation of American intelligence gathering. It doesn't seem right to have as much of the internet control in America as there is right now. So they're moving towards having more of a global control over the internet, which I personally think is a really good thing because it's a global thing. It shouldn't be controlled by one country.
It shouldn't be exactly. Yeah. I agree on that.
I think if you took away our government's control over the internet, and you took away our government's control over the global currency, which I mean again is the dollar, you might knock it down a few places, and it might be a good thing. So yeah, which leads back, just to cite myself, leads back to where Jason was talking about the government being too big potentially. Yeah, I don't think it's too big as far as America goes.
American government, but
as far as every other country.
Still have, maybe one could argue they have way too much control even in the States.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're gonna have to move on to the next topic real quick. Mark's gonna be leaving real soon. It's 11 a.m. there, I think.
No, I'll start work at 11 a.m.
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, and the next topic is bystanders watch as blind man.
Yeah, I'll pick this one up, Jason.
All right. I know, no problem.
Yeah, so like Jason was saying there, bystanders watch as a blind man is beaten and robbed on a street in Philadelphia. Okay, so basically a blind man, he's walking down the street minding his own business, and someone walks up, he knocks him down to the ground, and beats him up and robs him and all that. Okay, and there's three bystanders, they're just watching him, and they watch him get knocked to the ground, get kicked and stomped on, and no one does anything. They just kind of stand there and watch. One guy watches for a second and then just continues on his day, walking down the street. Just leaves. You got the cars going by, and you got to notice. There's a guy on the side of the street getting stomped on. Yep. You got to notice something, right? And traffic doesn't stop. Everyone, and then afterwards, after the the attacker leaves, all the bystanders leave too. No one goes over to ask him, hey, hey buddy, you okay? Like, he can't see. Like, obviously the bystanders may not have known that he's blind, but still, he's on the side. He's on a busy street or whatever, getting beaten and robbed. Someone should have done something. But
and there's people there. There's people looking and watching.
There's people all over. Someone noticed. Like, sure, one person I was talking to said, well, at least someone called 911. Yeah, okay, but no one, right on scene did anything to help the guy or anything. So I'm certain with Jason. I said, Chris, what do you think of that?
I mean, it's tough to say because I live in a small town. I should say I live in two small towns. In the town that I spend most of my time in, one of the businesses actually, their oven went down, and two other restaurants in town let that restaurant cook their food in those restaurants so that they could open for business that day and stay open. So that sounds off topic, but it's an idea of how tight the town is.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Everyone knows one another.
Everyone helps each other out. Even talking about helping out another restaurant who may actually be consuming your profits. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I was to do something slightly wrong, that it would, somebody would notice and somebody would call somebody or do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in Boston, it's a little different. I still feel like people in general are good, and people in general would see something wrong happening and try to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nowadays people are too concerned about stepping in and doing the problem solving themselves. So it's all right. So Cole, me and you were walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
And you say something that offends me, so I punch you in the face because I'm an American, right?
Yeah, Americans, yeah.
So you fall on the ground, and I kick you. So me and you are now in a fight, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel that everyone that's walking by is going to see us, and they're going to say, that's not right, I should do something. But rather than stepping in and causing confrontation themselves by trying to stop me from punching you, they're going to call the cops.
Yeah, so it takes time for the cops to get there, though, you see.
So, yes, you figure 45 seconds for a 911 call.
Yeah.
You figure, a minute and a half to 2 minutes for the cops to get there. By this point, you're bleeding all over the ground. I might be gone.
Yeah, and minutes can, in some cases, dictate whether someone lives or dies.
I think the issue comes down to civil. I think the issue comes down to civil stuff when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New Hampshire, and again, New Hampshire is awesome. Yay! New Hampshire has a law called a Good Samaritan law, and that means, like, for instance, if you're in a car accident, Mike, and I pull over on the side of the road after I see you crash, I pull you out of your car and I give you mouth to mouth, and you survive. You can't come back and sue me for pulling you out of your car if you're, say, paralyzed, because I was acting as a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
I'm protected by the law.
What you should have done. You did the right
exactly.
thing.
I'm doing what a good person should do. Some states don't have that law, though.
Yeah.
And because of that, I see you crash, I pull you out of the car, and I give you mouth to mouth, bring you back to life, but you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
You might have died if I hadn't
fucked, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might have died if I hadn't helped, but because I did help, you're now paralyzed. You can sue me for damages. And
Who
that's
would
not
do that, though? I mean, who would do that? They save your life.
Well,
people do. I mean,
wow.
And that's probably another reason why no one wants to get
legal
involved.
protection of a Good Samaritan law, without the legal protection, people aren't going to step in because they say, okay, I could help Mr. Cole Cooper, who's being beaten down by Super American Chris Call. But if I do,
Canadian getting beat by
say I hit him too, and if I get sued, I really can afford that because I might miss work. I could get fired. I'd lose my health insurance.
Yeah.
So
Or,
there are cops. The cops
people,
response time, and that time I beat Cole's skull in.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Cole Cooper calls upon his moose army to come attack him.
Yeah, all those moose and polar bears. Other than that, too, like, I agree with you saying that too. But maybe someone didn't want to get involved during the attack, because they don't want to get beaten up themselves. But someone could have at least, after the attacker ran off, walked up to him, and went to see if he was okay. Maybe stayed with him until the police and the ambulance arrived. Don't you think someone at least could have stayed there? They're all just walking off.
It kind of looked like the ghetto almost too. I mean, it looked like it was in like a low project or a project area.
You just stand there and watch, and even when it's all said and done, you walk away. Like, you could have at least stayed with them until
Here's the other thing, though.
Got out there.
Here's the other thing, though. If I see you get beaten down, Cole, and I'm not saying I want to see you beaten down because I do enjoy you. You're my favorite Canadian.
Yeah.
If I see you beaten down, right? Some guy beats you and then runs into an alleyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm being the typical selfish American that us Americans are.
Yeah.
And I see you beat down, I see you bleeding on the ground, and I think to myself, you need help, right? So I call 911 and I say, oh, I just saw a poor helpless Canadian get beaten down while he was thanking the man for beating him. and all right. So, but here's the thing. I could go over and I could help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it might help you, right? It might help you survive.
Yeah.
But, and this gets back to the earlier topic we were talking about. Jason, you might find this interesting. When the police get there to help Cole, the helpless Canadian who's a Canadian, they're going to look at me and they're going to go, well, what were you doing here?
Yeah, there you go.
Say,
you got a point there, too. Maybe
I saw this helpless Canadian getting beaten down. He was saying thank you. He was saying please don't hurt me, and then he was on the ground in pain. And they're gonna look at me and they're gonna question me. They're gonna interrogate me.
You're gonna be the first
it's easier. In that
suspect.
case,
but here's the thing. I'm a suspect.
Yeah,
because I stopped to help you.
Yeah.
I'm now a suspect. If I call in and I say I just saw somebody get beaten down on this road and I keep walking.
Yeah.
I'm not a suspect. The police don't even care about me anymore.
That's probably a problem more so with the police in that case,
But
in the end,
here's the thing. But then think about it from the police side of things. You have to treat everybody like a suspect.
Yeah, or what I was gonna say here, it's less paperwork to blame the guy that was there, anyways.
No. I'm not
it really is.
Not even being that cynical.
Yeah.
If you're a cop, right, and you show up at a scene, Cole's on the ground bleeding to death,
and you're just standing there. Yeah.
I called the police. Yay, I'm a superhero. You have to question me, because if you don't question me, and it turns out that I was the one who caused it, you're screwed. Your job's gone. You're not gonna have a career anymore.
I see what you're saying there too. Yeah. You don't wanna.
And I've always said this. I'm a fan of good police officers.
Good. Yeah,
I listen to Police Scanner a lot. Me and my friends have a good relationship with a lot of local police officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the Police Scanner thing is a big thing. I think if you listen to Police Scanner, you understand a lot of where the police come from. And regardless of your opinion on the police, you have to understand that they're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah. They got orders.
There's no good situation for them.
Yeah. It's hard to say, but still, I think someone should at least stay there. That's just my point of view. Someone should have stayed there.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah. How many cars go by? And you gotta see it. Just you're coming down the road. Oh, there's a man on the side of the road. He's off the sidewalk, laying on the curb.
Jason, have you ever seen a car accident?
Me?
Yeah.
I was in one, and I seen one. Yeah. So.
Well, one that you weren't involved in. Have you ever seen one happen?
Yeah, I've
that
seen
you
one.
weren't involved in?
I've never seen what happened, though.
Yeah, I seen
maybe a drunk driver. Have you seen a drunk driver? Somebody who was driving all over the lines?
Of course, yeah.
No.
Did you call the police, Cole?
Okay, good point. No.
Here's my next question. If you had called the police, would you have followed that drunk driver to make sure he didn't do any damage, or would you have just gone about your night?
Well, in that situation, no, probably not. You would just carry on. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point.
That's a little different.
The social norm right now
it's harder to listen.
The social norm is to call the police and let the police deal with it. Okay.
It's harder to follow a moving object when the person is on the side of the road, laying in the curb. He's not going down the road at 120.
Yeah.
He's just there.
All right, but here's the thing. People's feeling right now is that their response. I mean, people understand that they have a social responsibility to help one another.
Yeah.
Right now, that social responsibility for most people is, I see somebody who needs help. Okay. I should call the police. You call the police. And then you say, okay, I've done my responsibility. I'm gonna go home, drink a couple beers, watch TV, and eat pizza.
Yeah,
it's like that's not the extent of your social responsibility as a human being.
No.
It's to help people.
You stay there, you can help the guy, maybe fill in a police report for him,
Exactly, and I've been there. And I can honestly say I've been there and I've done that. Yeah. I've seen somebody who needed help. I've called the police. I filled out a police report. I've actually had to go to the station and identify somebody on camera.
Yeah.
And I understand when somebody might say that. I mean, I understand that I was going out of my way to do all those things. I understand that it could have been an inconvenience for somebody to do all those things. But at the same time, I had a job. I was in school at the time, like a normal school, not college.
Yeah.
And there was nobody out there. I never once felt like if I had explained to my boss, I have to go to the police station to do this to help this person.
Yeah.
I've been totally okay with that.
Yeah, if your boss had a problem, then you don't have a very good boss.
Yeah, exactly.
People are too concerned with that now.
Yeah, another thing I mentioned too is maybe they're too concerned with all the stuff they do online too.
Or maybe too concerned about the latest Miley Cyrus twerking video.
Not too. They have their priorities. Way off in Wonderland. They're paying all this attention to their Facebook and oh, should I help this guy? And they're looking at Facebook. Ooh, the game's on tonight. Better run home.
Here's the other thing, right? Cole, you're driving down the road, right?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to drive now?
I have my learner's permit.
Okay, that's good enough. So you're driving down the road alone, right?
Yeah.
And you're on your way to GameStop. You're buying Pokemon X.
Pokemon X.
Okay. So here's the thing. No, but I am going somewhere with this. So you're driving on the road. You're going to GameStop to buy Pokemon X. Okay.
Mhm.
Up ahead of the road, you see a wonderful American Corvette get taken out by a wonderful American GMC Yukon.
Okay. Wonderful American.
The Yukon is driving erratically, seems drunk, hits the Corvette. Corvette goes off the road, hits a tree. Yukon drives away. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I know where he's going.
Part of you, and I'm going to give you two reasonable responses. The first reasonable response, and I'm going to say reasonable just because I think most people would consider this reasonable. The first reasonable response is obviously to call 911 and say what you saw.
Yeah.
Okay. The second reasonable response, and I don't think it's reasonable, but I think most people do, is to think somebody else is going to call 911. I should go about my day.
See, so you're going to
go. So you're going to go to GameStop. You're going to buy your game, but you're not going to call 911. But you know what you are going to do? You're going to go on Facebook and you're going to write, "Oh my God, I saw the craziest."
You know what? I got to mention something. It just reminded me something that happened in the UK. I read about it. So this guy found him, he's dying, bleeding down the side of the road, right? And what's the guy do? He takes some pictures of him and puts pictures on Twitter, right? And leaves them there to die. No one doesn't call 911. Well, actually, don't have 911. They have something else there. But and what happens is he died.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I bet that person feels like crap, dude.
To call the police because you think somebody else is going to do that. But you do go on Facebook. You do go on Facebook. You go on the internet.
Twitter, Google, yeah.
What's happening?
If you're on some deserted road somewhere, you could be the only person that finds them.
Well, if it's a deserted road and there's nobody around, I'd definitely stop.
Some people still may not want to do it,
Yeah.
They're like, I seen a truck.
Can I give one more semi-off topic?
But in that case, for me, you should still stop. Maybe for the hit and run. Obviously, if the Yukon's driving off, maybe get the license number if you can see it while you're at it. Pull over.
Description of the person or.
But do you think that if you pulled 100 people, do you think more than 50 of them are going to say that was what you had to do?
Probably not. No, as well. I call up 911, maybe pull over. You okay, buddy? And drive off.
Let me give you a real world example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm technically a criminal. Okay. I've been convicted of a Class B misdemeanor in New Hampshire.
You want to mention this on live?
No, it's okay. So anyway, here's what happened. I was driving home from work one day. I used to work at my boss's house. It's small business. We used to sell jewelry out of his house.
Yeah.
I was working that morning, and then I was babysitting his kids. And then when he came home, I left. I got in my van, drove down the road. While driving, I got distracted by something, and I swear to God, people are going to argue with me, but I swear to God, I got distracted by something, and I wrote this in the police report. Something shiny in the woods.
That's
ooh, shiny.
I lost track of where my van was. When I realized where I was driving straight at the center of a guardrail. So I overcorrected, trying to not hit the guardrail.
Yeah.
I did a 180.
Yeah.
Backed the front of my car against the guardrail. 180 back, hit the back of my car against the guardrail, bounced off the guardrail, and stopped in the road. It was me and the guardrail, so I thought, hey, no big deal. It was only me. It was only the guardrail. I wasn't hurt. Nobody else was hurt.
You didn't
I grabbed the things off the road that were mine, drove home. The next day, I got a phone call.
You were supposed to report it, yeah.
Yeah, because somebody had called me in. Because and this is the interesting part, not because they thought that was illegal, but because they knew who I was and they were concerned that I was hurt. So they called the police and they wanted to make sure that I wasn't hurt.
And that got you the misdemeanor charge.
Yeah. They got me charged with a Class B misdemeanor. I had to pay a fine, blah, blah, blah. And I don't care about that. But the interesting part here is that this is for Cole, is that people drove by, they saw my van, they knew who I was because it was a small part of the neighborhood. And they had known me because we had Tupperware parties. We had a jewelry
all that stuff,
We sold jewelry. So we had a jewelry party.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they recognized me from the jewelry party when I was present because it was my company. And they were concerned, so they called the police and said, I saw Chris call, blah, blah, blah. He got hurt, crashed his car, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So the cops showed up at my house the next day and they were like, your van is badly damaged. Did you perhaps crash it yesterday?
Yeah.
So, all right, so given that situation, consider that situation. Apply that to the current situation. If the guy, rather than being killed, had been in the situation I was in, would you feel the same way?
I don't know. That's a good question. Someone should have stopped. I said, Honestly,
here's the other thing. If you were simply concerned for my well-being and not with the well-being of the guardrail, should you have stopped and asked if I was okay rather than calling the police?
Yeah, I would have.
You should have. Yeah, you should have pulled over and got out, whatever. Are you okay or whatever?
Exactly.
Maybe call 911 for sure. Yeah, but
was it a family member or just a friend?
Yeah, and I don't hold these people. I told the police, and I'm going to say this just for full disclosure, and I'm sorry this is off topic. I don't hold them responsible. I don't hold any grudges. I honestly didn't even know I was committing a crime. In New Hampshire, if you deal between your car and whatever you hit, if there's more than $1,000 worth of damage, then you have to report it. So between me totaling my car and the dent in the guardrail, there was more than $1,000 worth of damage. If I'd known that, I would have reported it. I just honestly didn't think I had to, and I didn't want to pay for a tow truck.
So there was no you didn't hurt nobody or anything like that.
Exactly, and there's no hard feelings. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I was trying to get away and these guys screwed me. No, I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah, the cop showed up. He's like, did you perhaps crash your car? I said, yeah, of course I did. It's damaged. It's right there. Yeah, and I actually kind of ticked him off because they said I drove right by the police station.
Oh man, that was smart, huh?
Yeah, maybe you should have pulled in.
I just didn't want to pay for a tow truck.
Yeah. So it wasn't totaled or anything. You could drive it.
Oh, it was totaled.
Oh, what?
Yeah. The whole reason I drove is because I knew that if a cop saw my car, he would have said, "You can't drive this car."
How fast were you going, by the way?
What's that?
How fast? Was you going when you hit?
I'll give you the same answer I gave the officer when he asked, and that was, I know the speed limit was 30.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't going 30.
Yeah.
But I don't know how fast I was going.
Ah, was you in a hurry?
If I had to make an estimate, I'd probably say 40.
40. Okay.
Which isn't unreasonable for the road.
Yeah.
But because of the situation I was in, I overcorrected on dirt. So when I turned my car, it just kept going straight.
It just kept.
Oh
exactly. Yeah. That's what got me in trouble.
Did you have your safety belt on?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
But I also had my windows down, and my cell phone and a bunch of other stuff flew out the window.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But no, but it was. I agree. It was my fault. I shouldn't have crashed. It was entirely my fault. I don't dispute that, and I don't try to dodge responsibility. And if I had known that I was responsible for the damage to the guardrail, I would have gladly taken care of that. Yeah. I didn't think of that. Otherwise, I would have called that in. I was really just concerned about the tow truck. They're expensive, man. And then you know what the best part is?
What's that?
When I got home, I explained that all to my mom, and she looks at me and she goes, "Chris, you have AAA. The tow truck would have been free."
Oh man, I bet that got you upset so bad.
Oh, I would have been pissed, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll be right back though. Hold on, give me a minute.
All right, so Mark, how do you feel about that mentally ill guy getting shot?
Oh no, that's a different story. That's a different story. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we are. Oh no, we're not, are we?
No.
No, we're not. Okay. Well, about the other story, the blind man beats robbed, or blind. A bystander watches as a blind man beaten and robbed in Philadelphia. Has any of that happened, or have you seen any of that before in England?
Well, we know what's happened.
Something similar.
What happened in his province where he lives?
Something similar when you see a police officer getting attacked, and the public don't help.
Ah. A police officer getting attacked.
And the
public don't help him.
Yeah. Because we don't.
Yeah,
still,
I don't agree with that. You know, he's still a person, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But is he getting attacked for doing something wrong or doing something, correct? Like, is he doing his job?
No, getting attacked by a suspect.
A who?
A suspect.
A suspect. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitely wrong right there. I'd definitely help out a police officer who's getting attacked by a suspect. Absolutely, no problem there.
Yeah, police in general are good.
Exactly, yeah.
There's just a few there that
there's a few of them that are under the table or doing some back alley deals or something.
For the most part, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you ready for the next topic?
Yeah, I think we are. So, a mentally ill man in Dallas gets shot by police because he was standing perfectly still in the street. So basically, what happened is he got into his name here. Let's get his name up here quickly. His name is Bobby Gerald Bennett. So basically, he suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and he got into an argument with his mother and stormed out of the house into the streets, rolling around on an office chair. Basically, what happened is his mother, Joyce Jackson, called police, and a neighbor suggested not to call him, but at that point it was too late. And when the police arrived, and this was all caught on a home surveillance camera at a neighbor's home there. Within 30 seconds of arriving, 4 shots are fired at Bennett, who is seen in the video getting up out of the office chair and standing there perfectly still for the next 5 seconds until he falls because he's getting shot. Okay? And in a report there, an arrest affidavit, Officer Spencer, who shot Bennett, says that he's a victim and that he was responding to a call, responding to a man carrying a knife. And it also claims that Bennett told police, "You all are going to need more officers out here," as he took a few steps forward while aggressively holding a knife. Now, as you can see in the video, you see him standing perfectly still.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of discrepancy there. And the neighbor, Maurice Bunch there, says that he never heard Bennett say anything like that, and he'd never seen a knife. So even more questions raised there as well. So once again, a mentally ill man standing in the street getting shot for just standing there, okay? And of course, and then there's these facts saying the police are saying that he was stepping forward when, of course, you can see in the video he's standing perfectly still.
Exactly.
So I don't think the security camera is lying.
No.
So what happened here? You know, like personally, I don't think this was
kind of comes
justified
back
at all.
to.
You know, like he's just standing in the street. He gets up out of the office.
He just stands up like casually standing up. He doesn't come up and try to charge him or anything. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched the video or not, but you see in the video, he's not lunging forward or anything.
No.
He stands there for 5 seconds until he gets shot. Oh, and another fact, one of the a stray bullets went into a neighbor's house.
Yep.
So, you know, being a little reckless there. You know, first of all, they shot someone that shouldn't have been shot, and then their bullets are going all over the place.
That is.
And after the fact, they wouldn't even let the guy's mother see him when he was in the hospital, saying, you know, he's being charged. The police did eventually drop the charges against him.
Things reminds me of. Before I say it, I want to reiterate. Like I said, I'm supportive of police officers who are
Good.
Good, yeah.
Doing their job.
Interact with them a lot, and part of the reason I interact with them a lot is because I feel like the more you interact with an officer, the more you understand where they're coming from, what they're dealing with, and the more you understand what they're dealing with, the easier it is to understand what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of stuff, and I can. There are things now that I can totally excuse as acceptable from a police officer's response that I never would have excused as acceptable before.
Yeah.
It's a high stress job, it really is, and but this reminds me of two things. The first thing is that I've been shot at least 15,000 times when I was rolling around in an office trailer in the middle of the road. That's the first thing. 15,000 times. It hurts, too, every time. The second thing is I can't remember.
All right, Mark just posted something here for us. Please,
that's also in the article, actually. Hang on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I did mention that in the article I was about to mention. And yes, he was placed on an indefinite administrative leave pending an investigation into his actions.
Thorough criminal investigation.
Yeah.
Is that paid leave?
Sorry, what was that?
Paid leave?
Oh, paid?
Yeah,
That's
paid.
a good question.
I have something to say on
he shouldn't be paid as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly, yeah, I agree with that. You know my thought on that.
Yeah, so like, Jason, do you think that it's totally justified to go shoot someone who's just standing in the street?
I read the article and I seen the video, and they couldn't have been there more than less than 5 minutes, and all of a sudden they're shooting the guy. And all he does is he stands up casually. He stands up casually. He doesn't pull up his hands in aggressiveness or anything like that.
Like I said, Jason,
within
30 seconds.
I want to make this clear. As a police officer, you're told with your firearm that you are only supposed to shoot people. You're only supposed to shoot people when there is a clear and immediate danger to yourself or others.
Yeah.
Clear and immediate are the key words.
He was out in the road away from people. He was out in the road away from people.
I'm just making that clear. I just want to make sure that was clear.
In this case, I think the police caused more harm. Their bullets are flying into people's houses. Oh, that's totally safe.
It's like a little neighborhood, yeah. There's houses all around there.
And, the guy shouldn't have been shot in the first place, like I said.
I would have shot him in the leg or in the shoulder. They were that close to aim. They could have aimed and shot him in the arm.
And the funny part is, his mother was told that they would send out specially trained officers.
Yeah, to negotiate or
they definitely used your training here. Within 30 seconds of arriving, they're shooting.
Exactly. There you go.
And Jason, when did standing become aggressive? Do you deem standing still aggressive?
And he stood up kind of like shy, like he wasn't aggressive or anything. Like he just stood up kind of like cocked sideways or whatever.
Did he have a weapon?
And there was no weapon. I didn't see no weapon in his hand.
And I don't remember.
I did mention this too when I
said weapon. I don't just mean gun.
No, I know that. And I did mention what the police are claiming. The police are claiming that he had a knife, and as I said when I was introducing the topic, they claimed that he was asking, saying that they should have more officers out there, they need more, that he was aggressive. He's walking towards the officers, aggressively holding the knife.
He was not walking towards them, and I did not see a knife.
As you can see in the as you can see in the video,
given that information, I'm going to say one thing. A man is walking at you, right?
Given that information, yes, it's proven fact that it did not happen.
No. A man is walking at you with a knife, okay? Even with a knife. You likely, in most cases, and granted there are obviously exceptions, you likely have the ability to walk away from that person in the exact same speed they're walking at you, which means that there's no immediate danger.
Yeah, there's no danger there. But even if they did deem it as danger, think of it. In
You
the
have
video,
to
we see.
use a knife, and if you can see, if you can, not logically, but if it's reasonable that you could stay out of that range of the knife, there's no immediate danger to you.
Yeah, just keep the distance between you guys.
Which means that there is no reason to discharge your firearm.
And as you can see
and
in the video,
there's two officers.
Yeah, but the surveillance video shows that he stood still. There is no walking forward.
No movement, no raising of hands.
The only movement you got really is getting out of the office chair. He's not walking forward. Doesn't lunge at them. He doesn't anything. He just stands there. And the next movement that you see is him falling to the ground as he gets shot.
And rolling over. He rolls over to his side.
Yeah, so there's no, walking forward with the knife. None of that. None of that happens in the surveillance video there. And, so obviously, on record now, the police there.
They said one false statement. Who's to say they don't say another false statement saying he had a weapon?
Basically, they were caught with their pants down here.
And I want to make
they are caught. They've been caught lying now. It's quite obvious that they have lied about this.
If there was a different officers out there, then that would be probably a totally different story. I'm not saying all officers would have done this.
They didn't expect there to be a camera there.
Your situation is if you're an officer and you're caught in a lie, keep this in mind. You're an officer, you're caught in a lie. It's very, very difficult for you to continue from that point and retain your job. So at that point, the human instinct of fight or flight or whatever kicks in. You can either admit you were wrong and lose your job guaranteed, or you can try to fight to keep your job. Yeah. And I'm not going to say, and I also want to point out that doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person. You can make a bad decision and then try to keep moving on with your job without necessarily being a bad person.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
Need people to trust them, and they see stuff like this. Trust them.
Exactly.
And none of this should have ever happened. Now the officer has been caught lying. Okay.
I just want to point out that just because even if it was bad, just because an officer makes a bad decision once doesn't mean he'll do it again.
I still do not agree with what he did. I think
I am on your side. I agree.
About it is way on the line. Even if sure, he wanted to keep his job. If you wanted to keep his job, okay, but still, he did something he wasn't supposed to do. If you do something at work you're not supposed to do and you lose your job, lying about it isn't going to solve the problem, is it?
Now, did he kill him, by the way?
I don't think so, no.
Did he pass away?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Can I change the subject? Not change it, but stay on topic, but kind of ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead, ask a question.
Yeah.
If it's a question, yeah.
I want to get Mark's opinion on this too.
Two weeks ago in DC, that woman with the car. Did you guys talk about that?
No.
What was that again? I couldn't hear you.
The woman with the car in DC, Washington DC.
Oh, we did talk about that.
Did you? No. What did you guys end up confirming about that?
Which story is that, Jason?
I believe I posted a video on that.
Drove her car towards the White House, and then when confronted with the police, tried to escape with her car.
I know what you're talking about. She gets, yeah. I remember now.
No, and I want to do this, and there's a reason for this. I want to know Cole's opinion on that. Just complete summarization, real quick, and then Jason's, and then Mark if he has one, but he's been kind of quiet. So Cole, what do you think about that? About the way the police responded?
It's a good question, actually. I think in that situation they may have been justified to an extent. Maybe not all the way, but let's go with that. Jason?
What about Jason?
My view on it is the thing is the video that you see, all the video that you see of that event is her backing into a barricade while the police officers surrounding the car, and then she drives away. That's all the video I've seen on it. I've looked on CNN, everywhere, all the news, even the local news.
Well, like I mentioned before, don't go to CNN.
Exactly. Well, that's why I said I didn't just go to CNN. I went to other places as well.
Yeah.
And that's all the video you see is her slamming into the barricade and running away, but with a bunch of officers surrounding her. Now that might have freaked her out right when she pulled up there with officers all around there, guns everywhere. She's got a kid in the back seat. That might have freaked her out, and she might have hauled ass away because she's got these mental disabilities. Correct? I mean, I think she had a mental disability, schizophrenia, or bipolar.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what freaked her out. Okay, then all of a sudden they're chasing after her, shooting at her. She's freaking out. She doesn't know what's happening, so she's hauling ass and trying to get out of there. And then she gets killed for it. And then they find out, she had a mental disability. But then again, it is justified. It is justified in a way because that should have never happened. All those police officers there, it looked like they were like aggressively.
Well, the police probably, like from what you're saying,
Hold on. We can talk about it after, but I want to
No,
get.
I just want to say one thing first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go.
From their point of view, like the police, from what they see, they don't know what that person's state of mind is. They don't know what's going on.
Yep.
So in that case, for them, it's justified at that time. They don't have all the facts, so
yeah,
they have to make a decision. Either let her do whatever she wants to do, or let's put a stop to this.
That's true. That's true.
All right, so what about Mark? Do you have something to say about that?
I haven't heard anything about it.
Okay.
You didn't hear about that story?
My opinion, pretty quickly, was that have you guys ever been to DC? Either of you?
I have. Yes, I have.
Okay. So Jason, when you were down there, you probably remember. I've been there a few times. That whole area in DC, the congressional area in DC, is a densely packed area. People are walking everywhere.
People are sitting everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly. They're everywhere. This woman was going over 80 miles an hour on these roads that are designed for 30 miles an hour. There's crosswalks every 500 feet.
Exactly.
People.
Yes.
If I was the officer in that situation, my first
could have killed somebody, so why not?
Endangering life, yeah.
Yeah, she's endangering somebody's life.
Yeah, my first reaction is I have to stop this woman because she's driving like a madman.
Yeah.
That might be shooting out her tires. That maybe shoot the engine block. Who knows? Okay.
Yeah.
But when she reacted the way she did the second time, not the first time, when she was just getting away from the White House.
Yeah.
But she actually smashed into a police cruiser, backed over a cop,
Yep.
hit another cop trying to get away.
Yep.
People. The biggest argument I saw against people who. The biggest argument I saw for people who were arguing against the shooting was that she was unarmed. She didn't have a gun.
How does the police know that? The vehicle's weapon.
Exactly.
Well, can I say one quick thing, too?
That was her vehicle.
After you get done, can I say one quick thing?
That's her weapon right there.
Yeah.
Let me say one quick thing after that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, now, the police didn't know that she had a mental disability, right? Now, I guess they did some checking and found out that she was telling her husband or her boyfriend that the government was after her a few weeks before this happened. She said that she was worried.
She was saying that Obama was talking to her.
Exactly.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yes. Okay, so she obviously had mental disability. She obviously reported it, or her boyfriend reported it or whatever to the police or whatever. So if you're in that state of mind, okay, you're in that state of mind that the government's after you or Obama's talking to you or whatever and he's after you or whatever, and you pull up to a barricade with police everywhere and you got a mental disability, schizophrenia, bipolar, and all of a sudden these police are approaching you from all sides, you're going to flip out and you're going to start hauling ass because your kid's in the back and you think that they're after you.
But when you start doing that, your vehicle is a weapon, especially in such a densely populated area.
Yeah. And you're backing over a cop,
does that change the justification?
No, it doesn't. No. I'm just saying that they should have looked more into the mental disability and stuff like that because they was reported. They obviously knew about it.
At that time, they can't.
Yeah, exactly. Jason, if you walk into a mall, right? Jason, you walk into a mall with a baseball bat.
I couldn't hear you.
You walk into a mall with a baseball bat.
Wait, I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
Let me explain. You walk into a mall with a baseball bat, and you do this because you think the governor of Utah thinks that is there talking to you and said that you should walk into the mall with a baseball bat because you're going to play the World Series of softball or something. Yeah. Okay? Somebody sees you with a baseball bat and says, hey, stop. A bunch of cops run around you. Now you feel threatened, so you might freak out and start swinging the baseball bat. Cop might hit you or shoot you or stop you.
Yeah.
Then they find out later, oh, wait, you had a mental disability. You can't search that when you're trying to respond to the situation.
Yeah, no.
They don't have the time. They have to make these split-second decisions in that case.
At the time, I agree. I totally agree with what you just explained there with that. I agree with that. It's just, it sucks that we had to kill somebody who had a mental disability. I wish we would have known more about it because we could have saved her life and that child would have had a mom to grow up with.
But that's a little different.
And that's how I'm looking at it. Like,
how many times can a car hit a police cruiser head-on before the child gets injured as well?
Yeah, that is true.
You're endangering.
But you gotta think of her state of mind and her disability and her state of mind too. She has a disability.
Her state of mind, was she ever going to stop?
Probably not. If the cops kept going after her.
And not completely excusing the whole hitting the police officers thing.
Yeah.
She's running 80 miles an hour in downtown DC. You've been there. You know how tight those roads are.
Yeah. Yeah.
All it takes is one person not to realize that this...
Or one little jerk of the car and you hit somebody. You're done.
Exactly. Not to realize there's a police chase happening. You cross the street, boom, you're hit. Your kid's hit.
Yeah.
I mean, give them 5 more minutes tops. You could have way more than one person.
For someone crossing the road too. When someone's going that fast, it's hard for them to judge, If they're way out there, I can make it across the road. Boom, they're there.
I want to make it clear that I'm not saying it was okay for this woman to do what she did. I'm not justifying the actions. I'm just saying that it sucks. It sucks that this happened.
We're kind of a little bit away from the subject here.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
I want to move back into it here in a second.
Taking this information and applying it to the same situation, you can understand where somebody, as a police officer, you have to make that split-second decision. Do you risk taking this person's life to potentially save other people's lives?
Yeah, but see, that's a little different than than the story we're mentioning here.
And I'm not saying it applies directly.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm just using that as an example to say.
In your example, obviously, she was doing something that was definitely for sure endangering life.
Also, 1 second, you said, could she, or is it okay that the police decide to take her life in exchange for all the other people? But what about the woman in the car? What if she thought it's okay to flee the scene to save me and my daughter's life? What if she did that?
No, I agree with you. It turns into a who's right situation, but in the end of the situation, somebody is making a call that's going to resolve that situation.
Well, the thing is, I'm glad she got stopped. I'm just sad that she had to die for it, or she had,
I hear you. I hear you.
I do want to move away from that, though.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
I do want to move away from that. Now, back to the actual story we're talking about here.
Yes.
First of all, since his mother, Bobby Bennett here, called police, and remember, he lives with his mother, okay?
Yep.
And so she probably, I'm assuming, probably informed whoever she talked to that, hey, he's mentally ill, blah, 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 okay?
Yep.
That's probably why they said, hey, we'll send out some specially trained officers.
They weren't that specially trained, though.
Because in most cases, you call and they're not going to say that. Just we'll get some guys out there, we'll take care of it. But in this case, they're supposed to send out specially trained officers.
Yep.
And obviously that didn't really happen. And then they show up, and as you can see in the video, he gets out of the chair and he stands perfectly still. Yep. That's not a threat to me, as far as I'm concerned. And they shoot him anyways. And they have bullets flying all over the place, as you can see, going in the neighbor's house and all that. That could have killed someone there, too. I wonder how many
shots they fired, because they were pretty damn close to him.
They fired 4 shots.
Oh, wow.
That surprises me, because typically, from what I've heard from other police officers, is that when you fire your gun, you're supposed to be in a situation where you feel your life depends on it, or somebody's life depends on it.
Yeah.
Now, and remember, and I want to stress that I was playing devil's advocate earlier. I like to make sure people consider all the sides. I've always been told from a police officer, when you fire your gun, it's supposed to be in a situation where you or somebody else's life depends on you firing that gun.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, when you're in a situation like that, you have 12 rounds. Why would you only fire 4? If you're in a situation where you firing that gun is going to either make or break somebody's life, why are you only firing 4 rounds?
Well, in this case, in this story, I don't think. In this case, I think actually they endangered people's lives by shooting. Anyways, if you have bullets flying into someone's house, that's just sitting there. They could be watching TV there. Too, boom, bullets coming through the windows. What are they gonna think? What if it hit them?
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Is that if you're not supposed to fire your gun until you or somebody is in danger, where you firing that gun is the adrenaline rush that's gonna save somebody's life.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? You see somebody who's about to kill Jason Cole, right?
Oh no!
No.
You fire that gun, but you have that adrenaline going. You're trying to save Jason's life. You're not gonna be restrained. You're not gonna fire 4. You're not gonna fire a third of your shots. You're gonna unload the gun.
Most people would. They just go. Yeah.
You're not gonna fire a third of your shots restrained like that. That's not gonna happen.
No.
So
you're gonna fire until the gun's done.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you're gonna look at the situation again.
Yeah, and in this case, he shouldn't have been shot. You're putting other people's lives in danger.
Yeah.
If it was a situation where that officer could fire 4 out of 12 shots, and then look at the situation and stop, then when he stopped, it's because he knew he shouldn't have fired the first 4 shots in the first place.
Yeah. So the video shows that he stands perfectly still. They shoot him anyways, and then they make up a story after the fact.
Yeah, they make up. Yeah, that's the problem I have. Is them lying.
The question is, how many times have they made up stories like that?
Exactly. Exactly. How many times?
How many times has this happened? No one ever.
See, I justify it only if the guy got up in an aggressive manner and charged the police officer.
If he was running out at the
if he got up with a weapon,
you know what? He did his job. He did what he had to do.
He stood up like a casual person getting up out of a chair and just stood there, and then get shot.
If he would have been running at the cops, then I would have been on the top side. For sure.
Right? Is that remember? Hold on a second.
If that's the case, if that's the case, then I could, if I feel in danger by Mark Hyder for some reason, or somebody else, if I feel in danger and they're sitting down and they jump up, I can shoot them, and then it's okay because they're allowed to do it. I felt in danger because they stood up out of a chair.
Yeah, and in the video, it shows you casually
and this gets back to the damned if you do, damned if you don't thing, right? If an officer fires a gun, right, decides afterwards that he shouldn't have done that, admits that he shouldn't have done that, what percentage of the population of his town is going to say, "Oh, I understand why you did it"? Because most people will. But what percentage of the population is going to go, "I understand why you did that. Please don't do it again. You can keep your job."
Yeah, I would have been on the side that says, "Get out. Goodbye."
Exactly. They're going to say, okay. They might even say, "I understand why you did it. I understand why you reacted the way you did." But it was wrong. You can't be a cop anymore. Because
in this situation, I do not understand why he acted. I do not agree with the way he responded. It was totally unnecessary.
Well, they both responded that way too. So.
No. His partner just stood there. He didn't fire any
really?
shots.
He didn't fire a shot.
It was just the one officer that fired at him.
Wow! Holy cow! I thought it was both of them.
Yeah, no, the other officer didn't.
So the one officer fired 4 shots. I thought they both fired 2.
No. It's just the one officer shooting. Yeah.
And he was that close to him too. He was pretty damn close.
So we've got surveillance footage to prove the fact that he's lying. And you show that he's just standing there, not aggressively. He's not charging the cops.
I wonder what his partner has to say. Like if he's going to be testifying.
And then they drop the charges afterwards. That says a lot too, doesn't it?
That's very, very.
I agree.
To be quite blunt about it, what happened?
It's a crappy situation to be in as an officer. Once you make one bad decision, that scars you. It really does. And nobody in the community is gonna look at you the same way because
they're gonna have to live with that forever, man.
Yeah, they're gonna say, okay, cool, I understand, and that's the hardest part is they might say, I understand why you reacted the way you did.
Yeah.
That's totally human. But as a police officer, you're held to a higher standard. If you're gonna react that way once, what's to stop you from doing it again?
Doing it again. Exactly.
Yeah, I may be quite blunt about this, but in this situation, what happened not quite human, and what happened, to be quite honest, is bullshit.
Totally unnecessary BS.
What it was. Should have never happened. It's not an understandable reaction. There is no threat, obviously, unless there's something else that we didn't see. But from what we know, shouldn't have happened. No threat.
I wonder if that.
Unless there's something that's missing.
I wonder if he had a driver's license. I wonder if he had a driver's license.
Why?
That would be interesting to find out. Just to see. I mean, just to compare him to the lady that had the mental disability and fled the scene in Washington there.
Well, he could have. The guy was 52.
I mean, what if he did that same thing that the lady did in Washington?
The police probably would have reacted in the same way, I think.
Yeah. Now, would you be opposed? Would you be upset about that and opposed to it, or would you be okay and that's justifiable?
Well, just like I said with the lady doing what she did there. Yeah. She's, like Chris was saying, with everything everyone said here, she's putting lives in danger. So if you put the guy in the same situation doing the exact same thing, he's still putting lives in danger. But in this situation, what actually happened?
He didn't do that. He didn't do that.
Yeah, in this situation, he's standing in the street. From what we can tell, he didn't actually have a weapon, so he wasn't really putting anyone's lives in danger. So we shoot him anyways. How does that work?
No.
Like I said, Cole, my arguments are typically not in one favor or the other.
I noticed that. Yeah.
I just like to make sure everyone considers all the sides of the story before they
and that's what's good. That's what we want. We want to have different sides of each story.
So
I still. From the beginning of the story to now, I still say that he shouldn't have shot.
No, he shouldn't.
I just want to make sure people understand, what's going through that officer's head when he shoots.
At that moment. I mean, his adrenaline rush, I mean...
My question is, what would make you think, hey, that guy is standing there, he's a threat, I better shoot him? No, I can't comprehend that.
I wonder how long he was on the job for.
When you're one of 2 officers responding to a scene, you're one of 2 people who are tasked with resolving that situation.
6. Wow.
It's your responsibility. Remember, as an officer, it's your responsibility to resolve that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this situation, I don't think.
And this goes back to the last thing we talked about. Think of the situation where you're on the ground bleeding because I saw somebody beat you down, right?
Yeah.
I called the cops. I am officially done with that situation. I did my responsibility, but the officer who responds has to resolve that situation. So he has to make a judgment as to say, how do I fix this problem?
So I got a question for everyone here. So quickly, Jason, what do you think of what happened? Just a few words. Do you agree with what happened? It was justified, or?
I definitely don't agree with it. It was uncalled for, unnecessary. The guy was clearly not a threat, and they should suspend him. And yeah.
And Mark, what do you think?
Same.
Same. And Chris, I think we already know your thoughts on it. You said you don't think you should.
Again, I think it's the same thing. I think you should be suspended without pay at least during the investigation.
Exactly.
Figure it out.
Unless something comes up that we don't know yet.
Yeah,
that does justify this. Yeah. From what we know so far, not justified. Unless something comes up, not justified.
Yeah. All right, so are we ready for the cool app of the week?
Yes, we are.
Alrighty, guys, we're gonna do the cool app of the week here. The cool app of the week is a Disney game. It's called Where's My Water 2. And the game's it's a multiple game of the year award-winning puzzle game. Get ready to join Swampy, Allie, and Cranky on their next exciting adventure. The sequel to the most addicting physics-based puzzle from Disney has finally arrived. Where's My Water 2 launches with 3 brand new locations, including the sewer, the soap factory, the beach, best of all. The puzzles are all free. Cut through dirt and guide fresh water, purple water, and steam to help Swampy and his friends. Key features: play 100+ levels and challenges. You got challenge mode, dig as fast as you can. Try Duckling is now faster, better, and more fun with boosts. Connect through Facebook and challenge your friends. And that's about all for the key features. Become a fan on Facebook for www.facebook.com/where'smywater, or visit them on Twitter @SwampyTheGator to receive exclusive news and games tips from the Gator community. It's a free application available for Google and iOS devices.
And Windows Phone, apparently.
Yeah, Windows Phone.
Yes, Windows Phone. There you go.
I didn't expect it.
Provide the link for all the downloads.
I didn't expect it, but it exists, and I'm downloading it now to try out.
Yes. There you go, guys.
So I think it's pretty well, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so that's pretty much it for this week's live stream, and we have more guests than we started out with. Of course, Chris Cole joined us about halfway through.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Interrupted everything, of course, for us.
You love me, Cole. Don't lie. You do.
Yeah. And of course, Mark Hyder from the UK, Jason Boyette. All the links to all the articles you mentioned will be in the description, as well as the cool app of the week. And that's pretty much it for this week's stream. So
we'll see you next time, guys.
Good night. Because
Ison? No, not Ison.
I don't know what it was, but apparently no one knew about it till it came right by, and actually till after, when they all got back to work off their break. I'm sure that's what all it was.
So that's gonna suck if they go on break again, and then all of a sudden an asteroid comes and we don't even know.
Oh shit! We can't agree on this. Shut down the government. Wouldn't that be good? Well, we can't agree on it. Shut her down.
Yep, just shut it down. Well, we're done. We're done. If an asteroid hits you, oh well.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't worried about it. We're up here in space watching your butt fry down there.
Us to represent you. Now we're not going to listen to you either. Because,
we're going to go hide in our bunkers like Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden, like how they hid out in the caves and stuff.
Yeah, like these politicians are supposed to be so great, and then they go and they go, oh, we can't agree. Shut her down. Done. Finished. Like, how does that work?
I think that Alex Jones is getting into Cole Cooper there.
Yeah.
a little bit of that's a little rubbing off on Cole Cooper.
It's such a it's such a good system when they say, oh, we're gonna represent you, and then when we get into the government, we're gonna forget about you, and we're just gonna do whatever, and then oh wait, we need to shut down because we can't agree on a budget. Okay, goodbye. No more government for a little while.
To tell you the truth, it wasn't all that bad when the government was shut down. Like I don't think we really need a government, in my own opinion.
Yeah, you kind of. Well, I think in the U.S. that might be true.
We don't need these rich bastards telling us what to do.
You don't necessarily, rely on government services as much. Kind of like social services and all. You don't really rely as much on those as we do here. So it may not affect you as much. Like here, they pay for everything. Really, free healthcare and free this and free that.
Listen to my theory.
Yeah.
Now, say you're a doctor, right? And say all of a sudden there's no healthcare or nobody's, the government shut down. And there's no hospitals. If you know a nurse or a doctor, you're gonna go to their house to get help, right? Because you know them, they'll help you out. So what if people did that just to help other people out? Okay. What if people took care of people just to help them out.
It could cause a bit of chaos. Like, think about what happened with your food stamps. Or I didn't write about it, but these Walmart stores. I remember where in the States they were just ransacked because all of a sudden it was unlimited, right? So they were filling up. They had to close these stores because it was such a mess.
Yep. But listen, that's where farmers come in. Okay, farmers come in there. They grow crops. They give you food to help you out.
Think about when you go to your grocery store. A few weeks ago we got some oranges. You look at the sticker, product of South Africa.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, how the hell?
Not even North America.
Yeah, that is true.
And
my theory is flawed.
And I was eating some soup today. We've gotten to the point where we don't rely on local food anymore. Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
like sure here we got our local beef in Alberta, but we ship that all over the world anyway. So, I was eating some soup today, and I was looking at the box, right? That soup that you can get in the cup, right? And you just put the water in it, and it magically turns into soup, right? Yeah. And I was looking at it, and it said product of China. In my mind, I was thinking made in China. Like they made my soup in China.
China's taking over. Okay, with that powdery soup stuff, they're brainwashing us.
Like everything is made in China. And if it ain't made in China, it's made in some other country near.
Some other country, exactly.
So,
I've seen a couple products that say made in the U.S. now.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, and they're sure marketing-wise, they're sure taking advantage of that. Even you see big flag on it, made in USA.
Yeah, and then you see little prints, made in China. Made in China.
Even here they do that too. Like U.S. products, you walk through a store, made in USA. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've actually had a product. I've had a couple products made in England though.
Yeah, yeah, same here. You don't see very much made in Canada anymore.
No, no.
All these stores come here and they don't support really the Canadian economy. Let's just go make it all overseas, ship it here, sell it, and bring all the profits back to where we come from, anyways. So
exactly.
You just
what
buy
are you
our
gonna
stuff.
say, Mark?
Economy don't, benefit.
He was talking about food, especially if it's got any hidden cameras inside.
Oh yeah.
Just going back to you.
We ready for the next article?
Yeah, I can introduce this one.
Alrighty.
Since I wrote about it, so
there you
Mondelez, I think that's how I say it, is the owner of brands like Ritz and as well Chips Ahoy. I'm sure you've had those cookies at one point in your life. Would like to do something interesting. They'd like to put cameras in grocery store shelves to monitor or spy on customers' shopping habits and get information about them, like their age, gender. They call it basic information, in which they'd put into a database. But of course, since it's going to be a camera, they're going to have a picture of you. So they're going to be putting that in grocery store shelves come 2015. So you could buy some more of your privacy, of course. So Jason, how would you feel going to the grocery store to get some Ritz crackers, having a camera pointed at you from in the shelf?
Well, hell, we got cameras everywhere. Okay.
Yeah, but see, here's my point. Like, you go to your grocery store, chances are there's cameras in it.
Yeah, no, I would.
And those cameras, they're for security purposes, and it's more of a reason instead of, hey, we want to spy on you.
Yep.
There you go.
But
we're
when you have
this
a camera
information,
pointing
who knows
at
where.
your face,
Yeah, and who knows where this information is going. So not only do they know can figure out your age, and your gender, obviously. When they look at you, like, someone's gonna have to look at this, or we're gonna have one hell of an algorithm to figure this one out.
Oh hell yeah, it is. It's gonna have to be one big ass code.
They're probably just gonna have someone look at you, so they're gonna have a picture of you. They're gonna know what you look like, what you're wearing when you went to buy the damn stuff. Your height too, depending. They can probably figure that one out too. Just figuring out the average height of a grocery store shelf, and then just work it out to wherever your head meets on the shelf. So they're going to know your height, maybe they can figure out your weight too. They're going to have a lot more information.
That's a little bit too much for me.
And they're saying, hey, we're only going to have basic information, when our cameras only, have all this other information that, hey, we're not going to do anything with it. We're definitely not going to use this to our advantage. Like, do they really need this type of market? Like, how long has the Ritz cracker been around? It's obviously
they've been fine without all these cameras,
And I don't think I've met anyone that doesn't know what Ritz is. Okay, so obviously their past marketing campaigns have been successful, so I don't know why they need cameras now. 100 years later after they started?
Here where it comes into play, I think they may be able to sell that information to other companies.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's what they would do.
I don't think they have to discard people and.
Oh, and the Ritz cracker's been around since 1934.
Wow.
So, They haven't, you know, in 1934, did they have someone standing there watching you while you were buying the cracker?
You purchase your stuff at the grocery store? What
yeah,
the hell?
you know, the thing about that, you probably work something out, which they probably already have anyways with these grocery stores. They all have some sort of card there. And you sit there and fill out all your personal information anyways, so come on, they already got this information. At least the grocery stores do.
What do you think, Mark?
I don't think they should add any data from any children.
What do you say?
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
I don't think they should have any data on children.
Oh, have any data on children? Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, he's got a point too. You know what? And a few years ago, I don't know if they had them in the States now, but they did here. Probably did. Do you remember any advertisements where they had, you know, the kid or whatever with the Ritz crackers and that they were jumping around? Yeah. So if they're going to use a kid in their commercials, they're definitely going to want, you know, information on these. Sure, they may not have their names, but come on, you got everything else on the person. And, you know, if it's just a camera sitting there recording all the time or whenever someone walks in front of it, it's going to be hard to do anything about that, really. So.
Oh man, I can think of so many things that could go wrong with this.
No Ritz crackers. Don't even walk down the aisle, okay? Stay away from the cracker aisle, okay?
Hey, that'll be an excuse for the candy aisle. Don't go down the candy aisle. There's cameras down there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll probably put cameras everywhere in the grocery store though.
Yeah, you know,
probably in the freezer section too, huh?
Yeah. And if this takes off, you have frost on the. It looks like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And you know, if this does take off, other companies are going to want to do it too. You know, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you know, like. I'm sorry,
I'd have to, like, if I was to, you know, be somebody that was doing that, I'd have to be one sick person.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that it's going to be a person that's looking, watching the video, right? You said it's going to be a person, or is it going to be an algorithm?
Well, I don't know. But that's my only two guesses as to how they could do it.
Yeah, because they got to guess the age and the height and all that.
Because if it's just a camera recording it, well, that's just footage. Footage is useless, not the information, right? So
unless if somebody is watching it.
So and then you're giving that person a lot of power too, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. They've got to give the customers warning about it and give an option to
well, think about this, Mark. So it's going to be in an aisle with all the other crackers, okay, and the chips and the candy and all that. So if you want to get, you know, let's say a different brand of crackers, you're going to have to walk by it anyways. And you're probably going to look at it and oh, that's good. You already got your information done. And then they're going to have information on the people that buy other crackers, and then they're going to have to figure out a way to market it in such a way to get you to buy their crackers. So either way, they're going to have information on you.
Just wear a mask when you get your crackers.
Yeah.
Or pick up the item, but make sure you're showing your head instead.
Yeah. And maybe just put your hand over it while you do it.
Yeah, put your hand and then flick them off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you can't be me.
You got to lean over the item, but not put your face in front of the camera.
Yeah, it depends where it is on the shelf too. But they can
just
point it up.
To go get your damn groceries now. You gotta be like a freaking gymnastic or somebody to do that.
Yeah. You gotta block your face when you walk by the
climbing over stuff and like reaching over and freaking. No, I wouldn't go through that just to get my groceries, man.
Now, see, if one grocery store decided that they weren't going to put up with that and didn't put the cameras in their stores and just stopped carrying the brand altogether, it might be an incentive for people to go shop elsewhere too. If a store came up with that idea.
That is a good idea.
So in the end, it can actually work against them.
I'd
sue the crap out of them if I ever found out that like my video or whatever was posted somewhere.
Do you really want some international corporation to have all this information on you?
Yeah, your age, your gender, your height.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, you know, if they sell Ritz crackers outside of the U.S. or, I mean, outside North America. But chances are they
Ritz crackers.
Yeah, like, obviously U.S., Canada, definitely, probably Mexico.
How would the
Oh, anyways, welcome back to another News in General live stream. Of course, we've been working on changing our name this week, so we're now News in General. So we had a lot to talk to you guys about in today's stream. So we got Jason out with me and Mark Hyder with me. Oh, let's do this thing, shall we?
All right, so the first topic is, what is the first topic? Protesters set 5 police vehicles ablaze in Canadian protests.
Yeah, protesters in New Brunswick are against, I believe, shale or something like that, gas exploration in New Brunswick in the region, and they were camping on the side of a highway for a number of weeks, and police showed up to enforce a some court order basically to get rid of them because threats were made to a security guard the night before. Obviously, there was a big clash with police there. Then Molotov cocktails were thrown at police. 5 police vehicles were burned, and it was also later found that the protesters had bombs, explosive devices.
Holy cow! I didn't know they had the explosive devices. I seen they had Molotov cocktails.
And of course, one shot was fired.
One shot was fired.
Yep. Yeah.
Damn. So, my thought on that is that's kind of overboard, you know? I mean, protesting for fracking, because that's what they're protesting for, I believe, was fracking.
Yeah, they
right?
say it has negative effects on the environment.
I mean, I always thought those type of people that do those protests are basically peaceful protesters, you know?
Yeah, they were native protesters as well.
Yeah, oh, well, that's why they're Canadian. The Canadian protesters are a little bit different than what we're used to here in America. They bring Molotov cocktails with them. They don't bring peace signs. So yeah, but my thoughts on that is that was a little bit too much for that protest. I didn't think they'd be going that far with Molotov cocktails and, as you say, bombs. But I do believe in what they're saying with the fracking. I do believe, you know, that could be dangerous and it could be harmful to the environment. I do support that, but I do not support the throwing of Molotov cocktails and bringing bombs to your peaceful
and burning police vehicles. Yeah, that's just going to make everybody listen to you.
How many was it? 5?
Yeah, 5 vehicles, and actually they did with all the protesters. They arrested like 40 of them. And they had to split them up and send them to 3 different communities. So when they went to go, you know, face their charges in the morning in the court, the courthouses wouldn't be overwhelmed with their supporters.
Oh wow! So there's a lot of people up there, huh? That are against fracking. Now that fracking, what's that fracking for? Do you know?
See, you get the gas on the ground.
Oh, okay. There's yeah. To get the gas out of the ground. Okay, let's see what else. I wonder what type of effects though that has on the environment, though. I mean,
good question. Apparently, it's enough to, you know, bring these protesters out there with bombs and all. 40
protesters were arrested. Wow.
And they camped on the side of a highway for weeks, and actually they had to close the highway towards the end of September because they were all spilling out onto the highway.
Jeez, man. Well, I gotta say, if you guys want to read the full article on that, check out newsingeneral.com. The links will be in the description below for all the articles that we mentioned.
And they're all News in General articles.
Yes, indeed.
It looks like a war zone, man.
Yeah.
We're thinking that too, yeah.
that's in Canada, man. That's in Canada. That's not over in the east somewhere.
Yeah, you're supposed to see some, you know, moose or something, you know, that burned down
polar bears
vehicles.
Come walking down through there. Wow, pretty crazy stuff. So what do you think about that? Is there a lot of protests going on over in England about fracking, Mark?
Fracking? I don't really know.
I don't know if you can do that.
It's basically where they explode like ammunition or like bombs underground to get stuff like gas and stuff like that. I think that's what fracking is.
We won't have that. It's not many crack in the UK.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of stuff they do over there. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know anything about it actually over there.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's take a look at fracking. I'm gonna Google search fracking. What is fracking? That way. Oh, Cold Creeper's gonna beat me to it. Damn it!
It's gas. I know what it is. I know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
Gas is in the ground.
Yeah, it's gases in the ground, but how do they get the gas out?
Yeah, so anyways, you're fracking the process. So a well is drilled vertically to the desired depth, and then turns 90 degrees. I don't know if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius. I don't know, and continues horizontally. Oh wait, no, sorry, degrees is in the angle. Whoops.
Whoops.
And continues horizontally for several thousand. Into the shale believed to contain trapped natural gas. A mix of water, sand, and various chemicals is pumped into the well at high pressure in order to create fissures in the shale through which the gas can escape. Natural gas escapes through the fissures and is drawn back up to the well surface where it is processed, refined, and shipped to market. Wastewater or flowback water or produced water returns to the surface after the fracking process is completed. In Michigan, this water is contained in steel tanks until it can be stored long-term by deep injection in oil and gas waste wells.
I'm just not entirely sure why it's polluting the environment, though. I mean,
it might be the wastewater.
The wastewater? Yeah, but I thought it's contained in containers and stuff. The wastewater.
Who's to say they do that here, though? And it's probably cheaper to just go dump it elsewhere and not tell anyone about it.
That is true. That's very true, Cole.
But you have to live near. I think you have to live near like a rocky area.
And they are in a rocky area. It's very rocky there.
Yeah. Because it won't happen in London. It has to be somewhere like Scotland.
Like out in the country somewhere. Out in the country out there, yeah. Yeah, I don't think you'd be walking down the streets of London and all of a sudden see that going on. I bet there would be a lot of protests going on there if that happened.
Yeah.
Because I know the protesters over in England, they're pretty. They get pretty crazy now.
Apparently, they get crazy here too. Yeah.
I've seen some of the video. All right, so we ready for the next topic?
Can I say your related topic?
Yep.
Anyways, moving on. We are moving on to the next topic. Mass blackout drill for U.S. coming soon. Jason knows more about that than I do. So
let me do this little blue box thing here real quick. America's knockout blow would be its power grid, and that is what this drill will prepare us for. Thousands of utility workers, business executives, National Guard officers, FBI, anti-terrorism experts, and officials from government agencies in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and at least 150 companies and organizations are preparing for an emergency drill in November that will simulate physical attacks and cyber attacks that could take down large sections of the power grid. So wait a minute now. Not just the U.S. that's going to be doing this drill. It's going to be like the whole North America, right?
Yeah.
Mexico, Canada. Okay, when a hurricane hits a country, when a hurricane hits a county down south somewhere, the most times that the power's out is 3 to 4 days, right? But Brian M. Harrell of the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, known as NERS, said, we really want it to go beyond that time. So they're preparing for something longer than 3 to 4 days. This drill is said to happen on November 13th to the 14th and will be unlike any other drill we have seen. It will include U.S., Canada, and Mexico, and this drill will be for an event that lasts longer than 4 days, like I said. So what do you guys think of that? I mean, that's...
So are they actually going to be like turning off the power for something like this, or how they?
No, the whole the officials and everybody that's involved with it will be preparing. Like they'll prepare.
Oh, they're just going to train them then.
They'll train them and stuff like that. But we all know about drills, right?
Yeah.
What happens with some drills? Some drills are so-called drills with quotes, right? That it's just a drill, but it's really happening. I mean, look at Boston bombing. Look what happened there. Everybody says that was
a drill.
A drill.
And
look what happened.
Alex Jones.
Yeah,
he said that quite often.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I got that quote from was, it's drills supposedly. So what do you think about that? What do you think about U.S. drills and having the whole North America involved in this drill? I mean, isn't that kind of
if they're preparing for it, what's coming? What do they expect?
What are they expecting? What do they know that we don't? Okay. I mean, the whole North American continent is going to be preparing for that, so that's kind of crazy.
It's a lot of.
But
it's
do you have natural earthquakes or natural disasters?
Yeah, we have natural disasters, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying what are they preparing for in the future that's bigger than a natural disaster like a hurricane. I think they're preparing something for the global scale, okay? Now, when something happens, probably the whole continent will unite. There won't be,
think about it.
The U.S., there won't be Mexico, there won't be Canada. It will all be one continent and unite our resources. That way we can get through the natural disaster. Because it's going to be one big disaster. Maybe a solar flare or an asteroid impact. Who knows?
Well, the funny thing is, scientists are a little concerned about some asteroid coming back and hitting us in 20 years. Anyways, so I've seen that yesterday, and they're concerned about that. So
do you think that's what they're preparing for?
It might miss us. It might miss us. Gosh. It actually might miss us, or it might be a hoax.
It could, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden we look up in the sky one day, and here comes a big-ass asteroid coming for our heads.
Yeah, ooh, look at that. Ooh, it's big.
But if you had the training, what's the point of the training? You're gonna be dead anyway from the.
But if it was anything normal like a hurricane, the hurricane only affects a certain area. If a hurricane hits, let's say, Florida, it's not gonna affect me here.
Exactly. I mean, they're preparing for a global disaster is what I think they're preparing for.
Yeah. So why would
meaning something that will affect the whole planet?
If they were expecting a hurricane, you'd train the coast. Maybe.
The coast. Yeah. Exactly.
But how can you train for cyber attack?
I mean, what the hell's going to happen in Canada? Is there going to be a big hurricane come up to Canada? I know they're getting nor'easters or like big, snowstorms. But I mean, come on.
We have, tornadoes.
You've had those for years, and there was no other training that had to go global or whatever.
Yeah, we've had our natural disasters here too.
Yeah.
Like there were 100 years ago, there was a town buried by a mountain, but
that's crazy. I know, but I'm saying, did the whole world prepare for that? Did the whole continent prepare for that? No.
Look, it wouldn't have affected you 10 miles from it.
I mean, I'm not going to be concerned or scared for my own safety if it happens, in Canada.
Yeah. So obviously, other countries in other regions helping those in need, that's great, and that should happen.
Yeah.
But preparing everyone for something,
that's a little insane. And I also heard that they're going to be doing those broadcasting things on your television or whatever.
No, those warnings.
Emergency alert systems or whatever. They're going to be preparing those too.
Yeah. But if in some cases they might just throw ads up on there,
I know how can you actually pay the whole world at the same time?
Well, that's why they're only keeping it to the top officials, top government officials, FBI. They don't want the whole world to know about it, so they're only preparing the elite people, the people that have power or have say, basically, have a word, have a mouth or whatever.
Yeah, but with a drill, you have to follow the public as well.
They don't have to. They're the government. They don't have to do what we say.
Not necessarily. Think about it. When you were, let's say, back in the days when you were in school, they do a fire drill. Half the time you don't know about it, unless you're really good friends with the teacher.
or exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you're the one that pulls the fire alarm, right?
Or that's not really a drill anymore.
If it's a natural disaster, why should a natural disaster drill be made secret?
So for it to be a drill for the public, they can't know about it. Otherwise, who gives a shit? Waste of time.
And if it was for the public, if it was a drill for the public people would be told to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these government officials are the only ones being told about it and not us?
Yeah, they prepare, no one else does.
Including Canada, Mexico, and the United States. I mean, that's global right there. That's crazy. That's like a lot of freaking people that are preparing for it. I mean, imagine the whole, all the high schools in the United States preparing for a disaster at the same time. Anybody there? Hello?
How great.
Cole Cooper?
As a matter.
What happened? That was crazy. I hope his internet didn't go down. But what do you think, Mark? Do you think is there anything to worry about with all this preparedness?
I think there must be some government secrecy going on.
There has to be something going on. Whether it be just a drill or a false flag operation happening, or hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. My conspiracy side is coming out on this one, so I don't want to move on to the next topic until Cole gets back. So, what's going on over in England? What's going on over there, Mark?
Me having crazy Minecraft dreams.
Oh, I think he's back. There he is.
Yeah, a little short break there.
Yeah, I was wondering where'd you go? Somebody call you?
Something like that, yeah.
You had to go get some sunflower seeds or something?
Yeah, I have a bag of them now.
I see. Yeah,
These last a while too.
So, do you think there's something fishy with this, or do you think it's just a standard drill?
I don't know if it's standard. It's like I said, your regular natural disaster.
Time it ever happened.
Even a lot of man-made disasters aren't going to affect an entire continent. Like North America's big.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like above the U.S., you got land-wise, you got the second largest country, and the U.S. is the third largest country. Okay, those are big countries just alone. And then North America kind of includes Central America too, actually. So you get Mexico and all those little Central American countries too. So that's a lot of space. And if they're going to work with Central America and those countries, that's a lot of countries.
What can we do as people to find out what's really going on? Like, what can we do as civilians to find out what's really going on? Is it the end of the world? Are they preparing for an asteroid? Are they preparing for the apocalypse? What are they doing? Why are they preparing?
Well, chances are, since I'm sure there's some sort of law somewhere that states this something that just has to be public information. If you really wanted to look for it, I'm sure you could really find it. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm sure if you went through the right channels, you could.
Yeah. Hey, Cole, I hope we're not going to find some big ships out in China, out in the mountains in China. I hope we don't find any big ships out there, because that'll be bad news for everyone here on Earth.
Yeah, definitely.
Those without €1 million.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he has to go again. He has to go. He has to go get sunflower seeds.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you caught that thing that I said there. You know what I was referring to, don't you, Mark?
I didn't know what you said.
That movie from 2012, the big ships out in China, out in the mountains in China.
2012. I think it's it.
That movie, you never watched?
Oh yeah, I know what he's talking about now.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
The clue in, yeah.
The big ships and the €1 million cost €1 million to get a ticket to get on the ship.
Yeah, but that's only if it's a natural disaster, flood.
Oh, a world disaster.
Who's going to be safe in all this if something were to happen on Earth? All those astronauts up in the space station.
Exactly. That's probably why there's a whole crap load of shuttles getting launched up there.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to watch it all unfold and go.
Yeah, that's why the private sector has taken over the space exploration and stuff.
Yeah, and apparently, NASA was all, shut down and on their break. Apparently, some big asteroid came really close to Earth during that time that no one knew about.